What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
9BH. Chapter 211 Susanoo. Break me. 2 more. Advertisement. As a traveler, Hefeng naturally has a certain degree of understanding of the fairy model. However, seeing the fairy model from the perspective of an onlooker is completely different from personal experience. Especially the current Zephyr is not that Xiaobai long ago. 8-door Dunjia. Weird force. He had already mastered all the top levels of ninjutsu in the ninja world. Although the fairy mode is not strictly ninjutsu in the strict sense. But in this mode, I have been significantly improved in terms of perception, strength, and physical defense. It is a good proof that Suzuo's attack was stopped without the help of the strange power and the power of the 8-door Dunjia. I am very strong now. Feng thought to himself that he really felt the power, and it was continuously emerging from his body. Even facing the ceiling-level powerhouse Uchiha Madara, he is not without the power of a fight. Flying Thunder God Technique. Taking advantage of the opportunity of contacting Suzuo Nohu, Feng directly printed his Flying Thunder God Technique on it, in case of emergency. And all the people or toads who witnessed this scene were stunned by the performance of the gentle wind. Feng stopped Uchiha Madara's attack. Shen Zuo blinked, feeling mixed for a while. Just now, when he rushed towards Uchiha Madara, the attack not only failed, but was also knocked out by the reaction force. Let it shock Uchiha Madara's power incomparably. In a blink of an eye, Kazuka stopped Uchiha Madara's slash. Doesn't this mean that Feng, a 7-year-old kid, far surpasses himself in terms of strength? My decades of cultivation, have I been surpassed by the gentle wind in minutes? Shen Zuo suddenly felt that his mentality collapsed. So much sweat for myself. Diligent, hard work. It's not as good as Feng's kung fu in the blink of an eye. If Hefeng is through his own sweat, it will take a certain amount of time to reach the present achievement. Deep works will not be so uncomfortable. But, before and after the breeze, even half an hour was useless. Who can accept this kind of thing? Shen Zuo just can't accept it anyway. Hefeng, Toad Fumata and the 3 brothers stood still on the spot. When facing Uchiha Madara's physical skills, they felt the difference in strength between the two sides. The physical advantage is almost useless in front of Uchiha Madara. Now Uchiha Madara has used Susanoo again, making them even more afraid to step forward. But who knows, this force that makes one feel fearful. He was picked up easily by the wind. Advertisement. Too frightening. Is this guy really just a human kid? Of course, among the people present, the most shocking was Sun Slash and the others. As the ninjas of Konoha village, although they did not have the opportunity to witness, they have a reputation for Uchiha Madara's reputation. He is not only the strongest of the Uchiha clan. It is a powerful ninja who even the first generation of Naruto did not dare to underestimate. Result. Is this legendary character even equal to the piece? Gentle style. Rizan gritted his teeth and got up from the ground with difficulty. He decided to deal with Uchiha Madara with K's. However, it hasn't waited for the day to reprint. The breeze on the other side began to explode the muscle strength of both arms. That's not counting. He also condensed the chakra inside his body towards his hand. Although Hefeng uses the same fairy mode as Naruto, he now has more moves than Naruto. In addition to rubbing balls, he will be weird. Read more at hotmtl novel.zi drink. Hearing a sudden scream from the wind, he just raised the chakra knife with both hands. And Uchiha Madara, who was wrapped in Susanoo, couldn't escape the brute force of the wind. This kid. Uchiha Madara's eyes widened suddenly, and he saw his feet leave the ground instantly, making a perfect arc in the air. The huge Susanoo is like a huge warhammer in Hefeng's hands. Then, the gentle breeze waved the chakra sword, and forcibly smashed Uchiha Madara against the stone statue aside. Rumble. Accompanied by the loud noises, the stone statues displayed around the toad oil falls, like the Dornomi tiles, fell one after another. However, the attack by the wind did not end. He knew in his heart how strong Uchiha Madara was. Wanting to get rid of him only with this level of weird power is basically idiotic dreaming. So Feng's feet kicked hard, and the whole person leapt high, catching up to Uchiha Madara's position, and raised his right leg over his head. Soon, the wind fell down with the right leg at the same time, and chopped down towards Susanoo. It hurts my feet. The strange power exploded again and went straight to Uchiha Madara. Moreover, Feng's pain in the feet this time was a blow in the fairy mode. Advertisement. Wei Li didn't know how many times it was exaggerated than Tsunade's painful feet. With one blow, Suzuo Nengu lying on the ground in the middle. The chakra bones that wrapped Uchiha Madara and protected him showed cracks visible to the naked eye. In an instant, the entire Susanoo can be covered. Next second. The bones shattered, and the chakra, like a dark blue flame, began to fade. Uchiha Madara didn't even dream of it. The grandson between the pillars. Still a 7-year-old grandson. There is such a terrifying power. Just with the power of a kick, he destroyed his own Suzuo Nengu. You know, this is the power that can be released when the kaleidoscope is used to its extreme. Put chakra into a pupil technique. Rao is a wooden figure between the pillars, and he can't easily destroy it. Is this guy Hefeng really only 7 years old? I'm afraid it was not disguised by the transformation technique between the pillars. And just as many emotions and thoughts were emerging in Uchiha Madara's heart, the painful foot of the wind continued to descend and stepped on Madara's abdomen. A majestic force seemed to fall from the sky, pressing on Uchiha Madara's body. Pouch. Uchiha's body was slightly bent, spouting a mouthful of blood, and his back hit the ground, bursting out a shock. In an instant, the ground beneath him was torn apart. This is the power of Hefeng's strange power. Far surpassed his sister Tsunade. Even Uchiha Madara didn't expect to be completely silly for a while. And, the most terrifying thing is that Uchiha Madara is now being attacked by strange power. Thanks to Susao Nohu, part of the impact was withstood. Otherwise, the damage he received would only be even more exaggerated. Hefeng, isn't he really disguised by the transformation technique between the pillars? How can a 7-year-old kid have such terrifying power? For a while, the situation of this assassination far exceeded Uchiha Madara's expectations. His cognition, at this moment, almost collapsed. What a 7-year-old kid here and there. This is simply a monster. A super monster who inherited the lineage of Zuma and Mito. Unreasonable. Chapter 212 Immune to Uchiha Madara's illusion. 3 more. Advertisement. That Uchiha Madara unexpectedly was kicked by the wind to vomit blood. Danzo rubbed his eyes vigorously, wondering if he had been involved in a magic trick. When confronted with Uchiha Madara just now, he really felt the horror of this man. He once thought that they might die here today. In a blink of an eye, the situation was reversed. That unrivaled Uchiha Madara was kicked and bleeding. This kind of thing has simply subverted Danzo's cognition. Is this the promotion brought by the magic? Rizan's heart was also shocked, but he quickly realized that the reason why Hefeng was able to hurt the current Uchiha Madara was precisely because of the fairy model. In other words, learned the gentle breeze of Shanshu. Only then has the strength to fight Uchiha Madara. For a while, Sarutobi Hizen couldn't help but envy his talent for being jealous. Isn't this the kid from before? The monkey demon didn't recognize the wind until this time, and the storm inevitably set off in his heart. How long has this passed? Hefeng's strength has undergone earth-shaking changes. Especially his chakra, it seems as if he has changed. So that the monkey demon didn't react for a while. Not to mention the toads of Miaomu Mountain. They all went on with the toads, and they were far from Uchiha Madara's opponent. They couldn't even touch the corners of his clothes. With just one kick now, Hefeng spit out blood from Uchiha Madara. Naturally, they were dumbfounded again. Good guy. Toad Wentai felt a trace of fortune in her heart. Fortunately, he fought with him when Hefeng hadn't learned the magic. Otherwise, if Hefeng kicked him with this kick now, the other toads in Miaomu Mountain might not be able to collect their corpses. But Uchiha Madara is not weak enough yet, and he will be killed by the wind. In fact, the reason why he is being kicked by Hefeng's painful foot is not because Hefeng is stronger. It's just that Uchiha Madara didn't expect Hokage's speed of progress to be so amazing for a while that he underestimated his power. That caused this situation. Hefeng this kid. Uchiha Madara took a breath, adjusted his emotions in his heart, and pressed his surprise at the Japanese wind in his heart. This is not the time to be surprised by the gentlemanship. Advertisement. The current me is nothing more than the technique of surrogacy, and the amount of chakra that can be used is only 30% of the body. If you continue to procrastinate, it won't do me any good. Uchiha Madara glared hard. Although he was kicked fiercely in the abdomen by Hefeng, this distance also made Hefeng meet his eyes. In an instant, Uchiha Madara directly activated the power of the eternal kaleidoscope, applying illusions toward the wind. And Hefeng has been prepared for a long time. The contest between ninjas is often an intelligence contest. As a traverser, the gentle wind undoubtedly occupies a great advantage in intelligence. Although Uchiha Madara has basically never used illusion in the original work, it doesn't mean he doesn't. The Uchiha clan has always had the best skills, illusion and fire escape. But, although I am not from the Uchiha clan, I am rewarded through the check-in system. Let me get a writing wheel that is rare in the Uchiha clan. Hefeng's eyes closed slightly, and then suddenly opened. On a pair of frog eyes, 3 Guyu and blood-red pupils appeared. It is writing round eyes. And with the help of the fairy mode, the power of the Hefeng Shulinyan has been increased several times. Facing Uchiha Madara's eternal kaleidoscope level illusion. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Hefeng stubbornly resisted in an instant, then moved his eyes, grabbed his fist with his 5 fingers, and smashed it downward. But this time, Hefeng's fist hit the ground. The earth and rocks rolled out for a while, making Miaomu Mountain even more tragic. And Uchiha Madara took advantage of the delicate timing of the gentle wind to move his gaze, and stepped back from him. In any case, Hefeng's opponent this time is Uchiha Madara. Not only the reputation is too big, the strength is one of the best. Rao is a gentle breeze, and dare not deal with it carelessly. Compared with the kaleidoscope, the writing wheel is one level worse. Moreover, the spotted kaleidoscope is still eternal. Perhaps at the moment of staring at each other, Hefeng was indeed immune to the illusion that had lost spots. But if you keep looking at each other, Hefeng couldn't be sure whether he could withstand Madara's mental attack. But the current situation, once dragged by Uchiha Madara into the world of illusion. On Miaomu Mountain, I am afraid that no one can save himself. Toad will not work either. To be on the safe side, Kase deliberately did not continue to look at Uchiha Madara. As a result, it was this delicate opportunity that allowed him to escape from his attack range. Uchiha Madara is really scary. Advertisement. What Kase didn't know was that Uchiha Madara had the same idea now. Riding round eyes. Uchiha Madara's eyes narrowed slightly, staring directly at the breeze. He had heard Baiju say as early as he was in the middle of hell. Hefeng, the little devil, opened up the riding wheel that only the Uchiha clan has. At that time Uchiha Madara couldn't believe it. After all, riding round eyes has always been opened only by the Uchiha clan, and the wind is undoubtedly the offspring of Shima and Mito. Inherited the wooden escape of the Thousand Hands clan. And the unique ability of the Maelstrom family. That pair of eyes are indeed ridden round eyes, like a fake replacement. The illusion arts of the Uchiha clan are quite powerful. Especially Uchiha Madara, his illusion, naturally needless to say. In addition to riding round eyes and pillars, Uchiha Madara couldn't think of anyone else who could be immune to his own illusion. Based on this, he can confirm. The riding wheel I opened by the wind is true. However, I am not interested in playing with you anymore. Considering that his chakras are running low, Uchiha Madara releases Susanoo again. And this time, Suzuo no Who directly incarnates into a semi-complete body state, like a giant, appearing on Miamu Mountain. And it also grew out of 4 arms, holding 4 chakra knives. Hefeng, there are not many ninjas who can see this form. And there are fewer ninjas who survived. Uchiha finished speaking, and controlled Susanoo to slash toward the wind. But, Kase now has the same concerns as Uchiha Madara. He didn't know that the spot in front of him was the technique of turning around. Even me, Shanshu chakra is limited. If the delay continues, my fairy mode will definitely be lifted. At that time, if you want to re-enter the fairy mode, I am afraid there will be no chance. After all, Uchiha Madara is not a fool. It's over. Hefeng thought so. Then pat with both hands. Chapter 213. Do you call this ninjutsu? One more. Advertisement. Shanshu wooden art. Hefeng patted his hands with both hands and used Mudun in the fairy mode. Although he doesn't know how to use ninjutsu, such as Shanfa, Mudun, and real thousands of hands, it is still easy to use Shanshu chakra to strengthen the power of the wooden man. But in this battle, both Kase and Uchiha Madara had their own problems. That is the lack of chakras. Uchiha Madara is not the main body, but uses Shirazu as a sacrifice to perform the magic of the movement. He has only 30% of the chakra volume of the body. The chakras of the Uchiha clan have never been particularly sufficient. Therefore, in Uchiha Madara's cognition, this battle must be quickly resolved. Hefeng is the first time to use Shanshu chakra to fight. Although it is a perfect fairy mode, it can only last for 5 minutes at most. If they can buy more time for me just now, I can absorb more natural energy. But there is no other way. Uchiha Madara's combat effectiveness is really too strong. From Hefeng's point of view, the many toads of Miamu Mountain, Harizan and others were able to win the time to enter the fairy mode, which was already very reluctant. And Shen Zuo quickly realized this problem. Quickly, get the old lady of Zima. Shen Zuo turned and yelled at the toads behind him. Although I don't know if I can succeed, this is the situation right now. Can only give it a go. See if you can merge with the Japanese style. If it can be successful, the biggest problem of harmony can be effectively solved. The toads reacted immediately, nodded toward the deep force, and went to look for Zima without looking back. Of course, a considerable part of the toad remained. They are not as powerful as Uchiha Madara, but they can all use ninjutsu. At a critical moment, he may be able to help the wind. With this mindset, Toad Wentai, the strongest toad in the younger generation, Toad Guang, and Toad Ki 3 toads, have stayed here one after another. Risen also stared at Uchiha Madara, looking for a chance to shoot. The battle between Kase and Uchiha Madara can almost determine the fate of these people in MT. Myoki. But Hefeng's improvement after entering the fairy mode still stunned them. Only half of Miamu Mountain's earth began to shake, and vines thicker than the thighs of the gentle wind grew crazily from his feet, splitting the earth at a speed visible to the naked eye. Next second, these vines gathered at Hefeng's feet and slowly lifted him from the ground. The vines intertwined and merged to form various parts of the wooden man. And this time, because of the Shanshu chakra, and the unreserved relationship with the wind, the wooden figure in front of the crowd and the toads was exaggerated as long as it was tens of meters. Advertisement. Like a super giant, appeared on Miamu Mountain. In an instant, it surpassed the size of all toads. Hefeng also stood on top of Mu Ren's head, looking down at the entire Miamu Mountain. In his eyes, Rizan and the others were tiny like ants. Even the air is much fresher. The wooden man who merged with the fairy magic chakra is so big. Even Hefeng himself felt incredible. Not to mention the people below. This is the gentle wooden escape. Rizan rubbed his eyes vigorously, and his whole body was stupid. In the past, the wooden people who saw the wind were only 7 or 8 meters in size. It has already shocked him. As a result, Hefeng has easily created a giant wood tens of meters high. It looked like a hill, standing in front of him. Is this the power gained after using Shanshu? Tuan Zhang stood blankly on the spot, he still wanted to help. But now, come to help, just rely on his wind blade not more than 2 meters in diameter. I'm afraid it's not as powerful as a wooden man throwing a fist casually. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The most important thing is the power of this level like the wind. In the ninja world, is there really a ninja who can compare with him? Really, Uchiha Madara in front of the wind is one of them. Watching Hefeng release a wooden escape comparable to the pillars, Madara couldn't help but see. Although it was the first time he had fought against Hefeng, he still had the information that Baiju had passed back several times. Is this the power after the increase in Shanshu? Between the pillars, you really have a good grandson. For a while, Madara Uchiha was a little jealous of someone who succeeded in the column. But, he is determined and will not be shaken by the picture in front of him. As a result, Uchiha Madara also released his power one step closer. Soon, nearly 100 meters, Suzuo Nengu appeared, a head taller than the gentle wooden figure. It is only one step away from the complete body. In addition, Uchiha Madara's Susanoo has 4 arms, each holding a special chakra knife. The Japanese wind and Uchiha Madara's eyes face each other. It's like the alternation of old and new ages. The hearts of the two individuals were all high. Advertisement. Each drove its own ninjutsu and rushed towards each other. Rumble. Accompanied by loud noises, Mu-Ren and Suzuo Nengu struggled together. The fist collided strongly with the broadsword, bursting out a terrifying force, spreading out in all directions. Shaking all kinds of tall plants in Miaomu Mountain. Even the stone statues of toads standing all around could not withstand the impact caused by the airflow and collapsed to both sides. Rijin, Danzo, Xiaochun, Yan, and Sape Demon. One after another dumbfounded. This is, fight between ninjas. Isn't this a fight between gods? It's too ridiculous. Whether it's Japanese style or Uchiha Madara's technique. It's all too ridiculous. My Feng Dun can really defeat such an opponent. Danzo couldn't help but doubt his life for a while. Even if he really practiced Fengdun ninjutsu to the extreme. Can you really fight against Japanese wind and ninjas like Uchiha Madara? This is the pinnacle power of the Senju clan and Uchiha clan. The power of Shaolun Yan and Mu Dun. When I thought of this, Danzo's mind suddenly appeared like Uchiha Mirror. Could it be that guy? In his eyes, there is also the same power as Uchiha Madara. Are you kidding me? Even that Uchiha Mirror has this kind of power. For a time, Danzo seemed to understand completely. Why would Lord Shuima target the Uchiha clan everywhere? These guys are indeed the most dangerous elements in the village. It's horrible, this power. My 5 escape Dalian bullet technique, can I really help the wind in any way? Rijin took a breath and began to doubt the meaning of his existence. Do not. What I need to doubt is something like a ninja. What is the meaning of existence? At this moment, High/Slash redefines ninjutsu. And many more. Uchiha Madara alone is so terrifying. Isn't that Lord between the pillars who defeated him? More terrifying. Chapter 214 Uchiha Madara was shocked 2 more. Advertisement. Uchiha Madara was defeated by Senju Zuma in the Valley of the End, but in the ninja world, he is well known. It's just that Hazumi was far from expecting that Uchiha Madara's strength would be so strong. The power of the wind can be explained by Shanshu. What does Susanoo of Uchiha Madara say? The power that writes round eyes developed to the extreme. Doesn't this mean that every Uchiha person has the potential as powerful as Uchiha Madara? If you think about it this way, if the power of the Uchiha clan gets out of control, the consequences would be unimaginable. Moreover, Uchiha Madara was defeated by Master Zuma. Isn't the strength of the Lord between the pillars even more terrifying? God of Ninja. It turned out to be literal. For a long time, Hazumi just felt that everyone called Lord Zuma as the God of Ninjas. It is a respectable name. I think he is the man who stands at the apex of ninja world, the pinnacle of man. Good guys. Sun Slash is a good guy directly. It really is the power of God. In Rizan's opinion, he wouldn't be too shocked by what happened next. Because now he has been completely numb with shock. Whether it was them or the toads of Miaomu Mountain, they all retreated involuntarily, as far away from this battlefield as possible. Although I am very reluctant to admit this, there is no doubt. This is indeed not a battle they can intervene. The only thing they can do for Hefeng right now. I'm afraid it's not just shouting cheer. Or pray. Gangster 666. Of course, Hefeng didn't expect much from these people. He confronted Uchiha Madara's Susanoo. Put your hands together again. In any case, Suzuo Nengu has 4 arms. In terms of number, his wooden man is not dominant. And, my wooden figure is smaller than Suzuo Nengu. Even from the point of view of K's, if Uchiha Madara comes up, he will sacrifice the perfect body Sanogi. He probably couldn't fight him. Even after completing so many check-ins, there is still a certain gap compared with ninjas like Uchiha Madara. But, do you think of me as a kid? Advertisement. Hefeng's eyes condensed slightly, and the vicious wooden dragon was separated from the wooden man. At the same time, it is the Mu Dun released by the infusion of Shanshu chakra, which has grown several times larger than normal. Enough to wrestle with Uchiha Madara's Susao. However, with the continuous release of Shanfa Mudden, the chakra of the gentle breeze has also been consumed a lot. Shadow clone technique. Hefeng's hands were sealed, and a white mist was produced by a bang around him. The white mist gradually dissipated, leaving behind an entity clone identical to Hefeng. Hefeng can understand Uchiha Madara's mentality. In the eyes of Uchiha Madara, the powerhouses of Hokage were just. You have met that adult, and you will be as familiar as a child. Degree. Now I am facing myself, a real 7-year-old kid. It's not surprising that I didn't go all out directly. It's better to say that recklessness and conceit are Uchiha Madara's shortcomings. Hefeng thought to himself, but his body stretched out his right hand and began to condense the spiral pill. The shadows on the side understood it physically and mentally, and began to inject chakras attribute changes into the spiral pill. Wind escape spiral shuriken. That ninjutsu should be what Shirasu said. Uchiha Madara floated inside Susanoo, and gave the wooden man and the wooden dragon to Susanoo to deal with. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. I pay attention to the breeze. Although Uchiha Madara came to eradicate the Japanese wind this time, so as not to disturb his plans in the future. But Uchiha Madara also had a glimmer of expectations for the Japanese style. In any case, he was a kid who inherited the power between the pillars. And he is a kid with a talent that shocks the world. If he was killed directly by himself, it would be a bit boring. Take out more power and please me. Since the first battle in the Valley of the End, I haven't played against anyone again. Uchiha Madara took a deep breath, wondering how he would attack him. The power of the wind escape spiral shuriken looks good, but according to Baiju's intelligence, that kind of thing can only be used at close range. It was originally a technique used in conjunction with the Flying Thunder God technique, but I don't have the mark of gentle wind on my body. The art of Thunder God is a ninjutsu used to kill Senna. Naturally, Uchiha Madara would not be unfamiliar with the Thunder God technique. He was very sure that there was no gentle technique in him. It is simply impossible to use that trick to launch a surprise attack. What are you going to do, gentle? At the same time, the toads below straightened their eyes. Especially for Shen Zuo, its whole toad was dumbfounded, and it was unbelievable for a while. Advertisement. Hefeng is just a 7-year-old kid. That kind of high-density chakra was not taught him by himself. Moreover, I have never seen such a technique. What the hell is that? Shen Zuo couldn't help but wonder for a while. That's a ninjutsu invented by Hefeng. It's called Fengdun Helix Maru Shuriken. Hizen explained casually when he saw it, but he was a little worried. Because he knew that the only flaw of Fengdun Spiral Shuriken was that it could only attack at close range. In the current situation, I want to meet Uchiha Madara up close. Basically it is idiotic dreams. Except for consuming his chakras in vain, Rizin couldn't think of what effect this ninjutsu could play. And he also knows now. Shanshu mode has a time limit. However, just when everyone started to worry about the breeze, he slammed it hard, and threw out the Fengdang Spiral Shuriken that could only be used at close range. In fact, when Hefeng enters the fairy mode, Wind Escape Spiral Shuriken was completely completed. He now has the ability to throw this technique. Throw it out. Uchiha Madara stood blankly on the spot. The information that Baiju brought back didn't mean that this ninjutsu could only be used at close range. Could it be that Hefeng hid a hand from the beginning? Is it to confuse the enemy at a critical moment? Wait a minute, gentle. It is impossible to know what he is still alive. So, in Hefeng's heart, there has always been an imaginary enemy. Except for the imaginary enemy, Uchiha Madara couldn't find any reason to explain Keisa's psychology of deliberately hiding a hand of cards. How old is he? Only 7 years old, and it's still a time of peace. This kid, it is simply a monster that has inherited the power of the pillars and the mind of the door. Yes it is. Because of the asymmetry of intelligence, Uchiha Madara couldn't help but start to fill up some of the missing. And start to shock in the scheming of the breeze, Chengfu. How far does he see the future? Even when the Fengdun Spiral Shuriken was developed, such a big round was made. Chapter 215 You have indeed inherited the power between the pillars perfectly, 3 more. Advertisement. Whoops. The wooden dragon roared loudly at Suzuonengu, making waves of dragons, and then rushed out with its teeth and claws, wrapping around Suzuonengu's body. The Mu Ren coordinated with Mu Long's actions, stretched out his hands, firmly grasped Suzuonengu, and did not give it a chance to retreat. Hefeng did not hesitate to throw Fengdun Spiral Shuriken. The whole process went smoothly and smoothly. Before even Uchiha Madara could react, he was hit by Japanese ninjutsu. Rumble. Accompanied by loud noises, the wind escape spiral shuriken exploded on the spot, forming a visible energy storm that swept the Uchiha Madara's Susanoo. This power. It's Uchiha Madara, who has never seen such an amazing ninjutsu. If you change to another ninja, I am afraid that he will be killed by the wind. And such terrifying ninjutsu was developed by Hefeng when he was 7 years old. This kind of thing makes Uchiha Madara incredible. But the bloody facts were before him. In desperation, Uchiha Madara had to withdraw from Susanoo to avoid being swept in by the wind energy storm. But, Hefeng's riding wheel eyes clearly captured Madara's actions. Although these eyes are not comparable to the eternal kaleidoscope of spots, they are extremely useful for observation. In an instant, Hefeng opened the 8-door Dunjia, and opened 5 doors in one breath. Coupled with the physique of the fairy in the fairy mode, Hefeng has entered an unprecedented realm. He felt that everything around him became slow. Together with the energy storm, it becomes like a slideshow. For the first time, Hefeng saw the attack mode in the energy storm. However, he obviously did not have time to immerse himself in his power. With a kick of his feet, he quickly left the top of the wooden man's head, and where he left, stepped on a spider web-like crack, and flattened the wooden man's hair. Seen from above, it looks like a Mediterranean sea. But Kazuki didn't care about Mujin's mood, he chased Uchiha Madara with all his strength, his body exuding green power. In the Duman state, Hefeng can feel various injuries on his body. Large and small, even the resilience of Muji's healing is difficult to repair these damages in the first place. The 6th door, Jingmun, open. However, when Hefeng chased Uchiha Madara, he forced his body and opened the 6th door. Now it's hard to force Uchiha Madara out of Susanoo. If you don't take this opportunity to defeat him, the person who will be dealt with at that time, I am afraid it will be himself. Advertisement. Can only go all out toward the peacock. The gentle breeze condensed all the last Shanshu chakra on his fist, constantly waving and rubbing against the air, producing a hot fireball. Uchiha Madara feels amazing with the physical skills now. Yes, it is. Hefeng's current moves are entirely physical skills. Not ninjutsu. No matter how you say it, Kase is a traverser, the intelligence of Uchiha Madara. He knows more than himself. He vaguely remembered that in the original work, Uchiha Madara himself said that when he was dying, he opened the eyes of reincarnation. It is not the eye of reincarnation that is about to be opened when we are about to die. In other words, when he waited to bring the soil, he opened the eyes of reincarnation for a long time. In addition, give the eyes of reincarnation to the people of Nagato. It's not about bringing soil. It's Madara himself. Consider that Nagato was an orphan during the Second Ninja World War. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, so after some analysis, Hefeng felt that he could not be sure. Does Uchiha Madara have reincarnation? Can only face the man with the worst plan. Based on this relationship, at this critical moment, Hefeng gave up ninjutsu. Switched to attacking the peacock. It was Uchiha Madara who had already opened eyes to reincarnation, and he couldn't absorb his own attack either. Bang, bang, bang. Hefeng fist after fist, hit Uchiha Madara's body in a distance, and fell with him. Without Uchiha Madara, chakra became unsustainable, and the flame-like coat began to fade. However, just as Suzuo Nengu was about to disappear, a series of blue goose jade appeared on its hand, connected by chakras that resembled thunder and lightning. Amazingly, it is Ba Kai Chong Go Yu. Soon, Susao Noji slammed this ninjutsu forcefully, and calmly accepted his own disappearance. But Mu Ren and Mu Long couldn't dodge at such a close distance. He was quickly hit head-on by Ba Kai Chong Guyu. Not inferior to the power of the wind escape spiral shuriken acting on the wooden man, the wooden dragon blasted a big hole in an instant, almost piercing the wooden man. Advertisement. The wooden dragon was directly blasted into two pieces by this power, and fell to Miaomu Mountain, knocking down a large area of plants. The wooden man's body stopped moving and lost power. In this match, Madara Uchiha and the wind are almost evenly divided. But, this is only a semi-complete body Shu Zuonengu, a contest with Shanfa Murin and Yulong. Moreover, there is also part of the credit of the wind escape spiral shuriken. It is said to be evenly divided, but it is obviously Uchiha Madara's strength. Rumble. Uchiha Madara and the Japanese wind fell quickly. The former hit the ground of Miaomu Mountain and forcibly smashed a huge hole. The shock of horror spread to the surroundings, blowing deep from the ground. Countless fireballs fell from the sky, devastating Uchiha Madara's body. No, Hefeng, on the other hand, quickly withdrew when the body suffered a hard-to-repair injury and fell beside Shenzuo. The King Gate State was forced to be lifted. At the same time, Hefeng's eyes turned into ordinary riding wheel eyes, and the orange eyeshadow disappeared. His Shanshu chakra is also used up at this moment. There is nothing worse than this. Do not. There are worse things than this. That is, Uchiha Madara stood up from the huge hole. Although he couldn't absorb the power of Chao Peacock's physique with the eyes of reincarnation, his physical body was not weak enough to be killed by the gentle physique of the wind. It looks like I really underestimated you. Madara Uchiha patted the dust on his body, and the red armor was mostly shattered by the wind. Hefeng, you have indeed inherited the strength of your grandfather's pillars perfectly. If you give you enough time, going beyond the pillars is probably not a fantasy. But it's a pity, you shouldn't have a chance to grow. Now you can't condense the Shanshu chakra anymore, right? As he spoke, Madara Uchiha folded his arms around his chest, and a blue chakra-like flame burst out of him. It's time to end it all. It's over, Hefeng, even you in the fairy mode can't take over my power. Not to mention, you are in a normal state. Chapter 216 A strong collision, you must be able to do so. One more. Advertisement. Fighting with the wind gave Uchiha Madara a long-lost pleasure. Since the first battle in the Valley of the End, he hasn't fought anyone again. But, Hefeng's fairy mode has been lifted, and it doesn't make much sense even if it continues. The power of that ninjutsu just now is really amazing. If the gentle breeze grows up, the fairy mode will be extended to the time limit between the pillars, and it will only be a matter of time before the surpassing the pillars. Unfortunately, he has no chance to grow up. Uchiha Madara put his arms around his chest, unreservedly letting go of his own Susanoo. This time, Susanoo is no longer a semi-complete body. It's a complete body. Uchiha Madara levitated on Susanoo's forehead, looking down at Mt. Myoki condescendingly. This time, Susanoo, who was greeted by the Japanese wind and others, was not only more than 200 meters tall, but also wearing a majestic armor. A chakra weapon like a samurai sword hung from the waist. Compared with this tall Susanoo, Kazu and others are tiny like ants. It can't be compared. This is the power of Shaolin Yan. Tuan Zhang slumped to the ground, completely dumbfounded. He always thought that writing round eyes was just to see the flow of the enemy chakra, as well as the pupil technique of ninjutsu and illusion. Occasionally launch some special illusions. But in general, it's only to such an extent. Not even as good as the Hyuga clan. Result, Uchiha Madara's Susanoo completely shattered Danzo's cognition. It turns out that writing round eyes, how powerful is the limit of blood succession. This is Uchiha Madara's power. Rijin's right hand couldn't help letting go of the Rui diamond rod. There is a huge difference in the strength of the two sides. No matter how hard they work, it is impossible to contend with this level of power. Ended. Everything is over. Even Sun Slash couldn't imagine the battle in the Valley of the End that year. Lord between the pillars, how did he defeat Madara Uchiha? This power is not the pinnacle of the ninja world. Uchiha Madara, sitting cross-legged on the ground with the wind, he simply didn't think about the huge Susanoo, but concentrated all his attention and frantically absorbed the natural energy around him. You can absorb as much as you can. It doesn't make sense to think about the power gap between yourself and Uchiha Madara now. How to keep yourself alive is true. If you use the technique of Flying Thunder God, it won't be difficult to avoid Suzuo Nengu's slashing down. Advertisement. But in that case, the sun slashing them behind me will undoubtedly be wiped out. Although in the original Konoha high-rise, it is indeed a bit dark. But now they are still very good young people, and they treat themselves well. Let Hefeng see his death without saving, but care about himself. That's not his character, let alone his style of doing things. People are not vegetation, how can they stop when they are square, and roll when they are round? At critical moments, there should still be some bottom lines and principles. Even if it is this critical moment of life and death. Sun Slash, they are not only my friends who have traveled here to harvest. They are all my subordinates. As the captain of this special ninja army, how can I leave them alone? The imperative is to enter the fairy mode as soon as possible. However, even though he thinks so, he doesn't care about everything. The condition for absorbing natural energy is simply not moving. There are actually no restrictions on the idea of Zephyr. Closing his eyes now allowed him to open the power of Kagura's heart. Even if you don't look, don't listen. The gentle breeze can also perceive the Susao Nohu. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. At the same time, the toad from Miaomu Mountain also rushed here with Zima. In fact, there are Susanuga like Uchiha Madara, and Senfamujin, a Japanese style. Such an exaggerated behemoth. How could Ji-Ma fail to notice? These toads were actually Zima encountered on the way, and when they rushed here, they explained the current situation of Miaomu Mountain in detail. Now when he saw the Japanese style, Ji-Ma didn't say anything, and directly let Shen Zuo jump on the Japanese style shoulders with him, and merge with him. Old man, old woman, deeply focused and nodded, they only need a look at each other, and they will have a clear heart. They quickly jumped onto Hefeng's shoulder, and then patted with both hands. Try to blend with the Japanese style. But what I have to say is that if you want to complete the integration, you must be fully focused. For them now, this is actually a very difficult thing. It's just a dying struggle. Uchiha Madara glanced down and controlled Susanoo to pull out the Chakrata sword. In an instant, a sword aura moved towards the distance horizontally and horizontally. Call out. Sword chi spread out like ripples, passing through the high mountains near Miaomu Mountain, splitting into two easily. The severed mountain rises like a broken line kite, and then explodes in the air. Rumble. The deafening sound spread in all directions. Advertisement. Ruiguaner. Rao is the toad of Miaomu Mountain, and they are all terrified by this power. With just this blow, the mountain was broken. How to stop such a terrifying power? Too frightening. Farewell, gentle breeze. Uchiha Madara's voice was low, and he didn't care whether this voice could reach Hefeng's ears. Susanoo Nohu's right hand was slowly raised. Hefeng and Shen Zuo, Ji-Ma, sweat beaded on their foreheads. At the corner of Hefeng's eyes, the faded orange eyeshadow slowly appeared. But, not enough. Want to enter the fairy mode. More natural energy is needed. However, the most lacking of the current Zephyr is time. Oops, soon. Susanoo raised the Chakrata sword over his head, aiming at the wind below. Then, it fell sharply. The entire Miaomu Mountain could not help being enveloped in unprecedented despair. It's over, the end of Miaomu Mountain. This force is too terrifying, there is no way to fight it. Can't stop it. The toads paled one after another. Xiaochun and Yan also knelt down with a plop, their faces extremely ugly. Now, everyone can only pin their hopes on Hefeng. Success. Suddenly, in the process of Susanoo's slashing whereabouts, Shinsaku and Shima opened their eyes suddenly. They successfully merged with the wind and helped him absorb more natural energy. Let his fairy model come out one step in advance. Stay back. He stood up from the ground with a breezy sound. Facing such an exaggerated slash, he couldn't take care of that much. He kicked his feet hard and headed towards Chakrataso. At the same time, Hefeng controlled the Shanshu chakra precisely, condensed it on his fist, and blasted the chakra with the sword. Boom. For a while, Kei's and Uchiha Madara once again collided strongly. A horrible air current slammed down. Chapter 217 Escape from the Dead. 2 more. Advertisement. Whether it's the ninjas such as Hizen, or the toads of Miaomu Mountain. They all felt an incomparably powerful force, crushing them towards them, and slapped their bodies on the ground, clinging to the ground, unable to move. What kind of power is this? This power is too exaggerated, the body can't move at all. Just the impact has such an exaggerated power, how terrifying Uchiha Madara's slash is. One trick, let everyone, all toads, all feel collapsed. This power is simply the power of God. So strong. Hefeng gritted his teeth, and he burst out with all his strength before he could barely accept Suzuo's slash. How to push this power back, even the wind can't do it. Finally, the majestic power and the huge chakra knife smashed down, slapped the breeze to the ground fiercely. It's incredible. Uchiha Madara was suspended in the air, using the power of the eternal kaleidoscope to see the whole process clearly. He originally thought that Suzuo Nohu's slash could kill the wind on the spot. End this game. Unexpectedly, Hefeng entered the fairy mode again and prevented his own attack. Unscathed. It's unbelievable. If that's the case, then try this trick. Uchiha Madara's voice was low, and the manipulator Susanoo raised his other hand, and Hachisha Kiyomizu appeared again, and the volume was even larger than that of the wooden figure. Rao is a gentle breeze. Uchiha Madara didn't think he could resist it. The zephyr below looked gloomy, and his hands were used to catch the chopped Chakrata sword. I can't get out of my body and release ninjutsu. At the critical moment, Hefeng could only split 5 Mudun clones from his body to find a way. Shensaku and Shima looked at the huge Bashachong Guyu with nervous expressions. The power of that thing is obvious to all Shenzuo and other toads. If you let that thing fall, let alone the gentle breeze, I'm afraid that it won't be razed to the ground. Without any exaggeration, at this moment, both Raoshi Shenzuo and Jima felt unprecedented despair. Even the fairy model of the gentle wind can't deal with Uchiha Madara now. Go to hell, gentle wind. I saw that Suzuo Nengu was about to throw out the 8-foot Chong Guyu and wipe out the wind. The huge Guyu began to decompose in the air until it disappeared. Shenzuo and Jima were stunned, completely unexpected that such a thing would happen. Not only that, but the chakra, which was enveloping them must be like a flame, also began to dissipate at a speed visible to the naked eye. Then came Chakrata sword, Susanoo's armor, advertisement. Skin, flesh and blood. Susanoo returned to his bone form. Hefeng stared at this incredible scene with his eyes wide open. Then, even Susanoo's bones began to shrink. Uchiha Madara slowly descended from the sky to the ground. And Uchiha Madara's eyes widened at this time, and an incredible expression appeared. But he soon realized what was going on. He is not the body of Uchiha Madara. Rather, he sacrificed Baiju to perform as a sacrifice. Although Baiju could be transformed into a strong man just like himself. But, the clone can only possess 30% of the chakra of the body. And Uchiha Madara's ninjutsu just released are all ultimate moves that consume chakra drastically. Cause his chakra to be exhausted at this moment. I thought he could kill the wind. Uchiha Madara took a breath, and fragments began to float from his body. What a pity. Obviously it's just a little bit short, and the harmony can be resolved. Do not. Suddenly, Uchiha Madara shook his head and denied the idea. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It's not that you can get rid of the breeze by yourself. But, the gentle breeze is more tenacious than I thought. Who would have thought that Hefeng would have learned immortality in the blink of an eye? Who could have imagined that at that moment of life and death, Hefeng did not give up because of despair, but entered the fairy mode again abruptly? Yes, it is. It's not that I fell short. It's so unreasonable. Rao is his own strength, and he has not been able to kill him. But, Uchiha Madara has never been a man of gains and losses. Although his whereabouts were exposed this time, he has already obtained the most important thing. The cells between the columns. As long as you hide in the crevices of hell, it is impossible to find yourself. And once the pillars die, there is no one to protect the gentle wind anymore. It's just the last dying struggle. Uchiha Madara couldn't help but murmur, then he leaned back and fell straight to the back. Thump. Next second, Uchiha Madara's appearance began to change, he returned to Baizetsu, and died tragically on the ground. Advertisement. The breeze stood on the spot, blinking constantly, unable to figure out the situation for a while. Uchiha Madara collapsed. What's the situation? Wasn't he still aggressive just now? Could it be that Uchiha Madara's lifespan has reached its limit? End of life. Could it be that the emperor of mine really sucked the life of Uchiha Madara before me? What is this, karma ninjutsu? Just kidding. It was so shocking that he was so surprised by the wind that he couldn't accept the fact that Uchiha Madara fell for a long time. Even the entire Miaomu Mountain's time seemed to freeze at this moment. Atmosphere becomes weird. However, this scene did not last long. Hefeng took a deep breath, adjusted his emotions, and then approached the fallen Uchiha Madara. And finally in the deep pit, witnessed the truth. What is this? Shenzuo, who was fused on Hefeng's shoulders, couldn't help but widen his eyes, looking up and down at the corpse on the ground. No doubt, he is dead, but what makes Shensaku incomprehensible is that they are fighting Uchiha Madara from beginning to end, right? Why did you suddenly become this guy? And also, who is this guy? It doesn't look like a human being. Jima frowned and carefully observed Baiju on the ground. Although Baiju has a similar body shape to humans, there is still a certain gap in the end. For a time, the well-informed Shenzuo and Jima were filled with a lot of question marks. Only the gentle wind, I know exactly what the guy in front of me is. Could it be? Hefeng frowned slightly, and his brain quickly retrieved information on Naruto. The person who just played against is indeed Uchiha Madara. The corpse lying on the ground now is indeed Baiju. Moreover, he has a writing wheel, and ordinary illusions can't confuse him at all. Eliminate all the impossible, then the remaining possibility is the correct answer no matter how impossible it is. This is the technique of elephant turn. If it's the elephant turn technique, Uchiha Madara's attack can be explained by the sudden cessation. Hefeng suddenly realized it, and he let out a long sigh of relief. Chapter 218 Sign a psychic contract. 3 more. Advertisement. Rizan and others looked at each other. Seeing the fallen Uchiha Madara had no response for a long time, they got up from the ground and walked over slowly. During this process, sufficient alert was maintained. But who knows, when they walked to the edge of the pit, they were stunned by the scene in front of them. Because the corpse lying there was not Uchiha Madara at all. It was a guy that none of them had seen before. The body is white all over. Grim-faced. Although there is a human body, it does not look like a human at all. What is this? Where is Uchiha Madara? Kaharu couldn't help asking, rolling his throat. But facing her problem, whether it was Rijin and others, or Miyamu Mountain's Toad, they couldn't answer. Even they don't know what is going on. The only person who knows the truth is the 7-year-old Zefeng. However, he obviously won't explain all this. On the one hand, it is too troublesome to explain. On the other hand, how he understands Baiju and Madara so much is not easy for him to explain. The key is, the appearance of Uchiha Madara means that I was stared at by him. Although Hefeng had guessed this possibility more than once, it was time for confirmation. The inner shock is still indescribable. And the guy hight C. The current black definitely does not have enough power, but he is undoubtedly the biggest man behind the scenes. He actually did many things in the ninja world. Presumably in the future, there will be more dangers waiting for me. In this situation, if I share the information I have to other people, it won't do me any good. Hefeng took a deep breath and felt confident in his heart. It is better to know nothing about this matter, because it is difficult for him to say whether there is Baiju who is secretly observing himself in this neighborhood. After all, I still can't perceive that kind of thing. Especially Highway. If he insists on saying, in fact, Hefeng is not the most worried about Baiju. It's Highway. Forget it. Hefeng shook his head and used the shadow avatar technique to form 2 shadow avatars. Ask them to sit near the toad oil waterfall and sit cross-legged to absorb natural energy. But he dismissed the fairy mode, and sat down on the ground with a plop. Having just experienced that level of battle, Hefeng also felt physically and mentally exhausted. Advertisement. Shima and Fukasaku separated from Hefeng's shoulders and turned to glance at the 2 shadow clones that ran out. For a while, he didn't know what Hefeng was thinking. When the shadow clone technique is released, chakra will return to the body. Hefeng looked at Shen Zuo, and then explained. In any case, he needs deep work for help in this regard. Let my shadow clone technique absorb enough natural energy, enter the fairy mode, and then release it. Then the chakra they refined, can give back to me. Let me directly enter the fairy mode. Based on this, Hefeng intends to leave as many entity clones as possible on Miyamu Mountain. In case for need. Moreover, this method is not a random idea. But Naruto Uzumaki thought about it and used it in actual combat. I have to say that although Naruto Uzumaki is often regarded as the tail of a crane, in fact, Hefeng felt that Naruto's talent for fighting was simply exploding. How many battles didn't he solve the opponent on a whim? Hyuga Neji, Pain, Bring Soil, and many more. Read more at hotmtl novel.zi. He said that Naruto Uzumaki was a fool, and he was the first to refuse. His fighting talent is absolutely different from ordinary people. The result was as expected by Kazefeng. After expressing this idea by himself, Shensaku and Shima suddenly widened their eyes, staring at Hefeng incredibly. Marvel at his mind. Although this method seems simple, but how many people can think of this method in such a short time? Moreover, Hefeng's attitude towards this matter is also different from ordinary people. If a normal person sees Uchiha Madara fall down, he will become Shiraizu. Most likely it will relax completely. But he didn't even want to prepare for the next move. If Uchiha Madara reappears, he can remove the shadow clone and instantly obtain the Shanshu chakra. Come and put yourself into combat. You know, Hefeng is only 7 years old. I saw this far at the age of 7. It's incredible. Anyway, take the corpse back to Konoha. Hefeng was silent for a moment, and put forward his own suggestions to Rijin and others. Originally, he planned to stay in Miyamu Mountain for a while. Advertisement. Just relax. After all, the environment here is very good. But now Hefeng doesn't think so. It will take at least a few months before I punch the card next time. It's almost difficult to get stronger during this time. Anyway, my talent is fake. All ninjutsu abilities are drawn from the punch card system. If you let me stay in Miyamu Mountain to continue cultivating, I'm afraid I won't know how I will die in the end. After thinking about it, Hefeng thinks it's better to leave here soon, once back to Konoha village. Although the column is terminally ill, as long as it is alive, it is a threat. It was Uchiha Madara, and he didn't dare to mess around. And it's not vegetarian. With the help of myself, how can I break my wrist with Uchiha Madara? However, these people, it doesn't help much at all. But no matter what, Baiju's body, Hefeng decided to take it home. Maybe something can be researched out. Rijin and the others looked at each other, feeling that what Hefeng said made sense. Miyamu Mountain is indeed not a place to stay for a long time. I didn't expect that Uchiha Madara would still be alive. It's really amazing. Let's go back to Konoha village as soon as possible. In fact, the thoughts of Rijin and others are the same as Hefeng. I want to spend more time in Miyamu Mountain to see if I can learn the magic here. Improve strength. But now it seems that fate is more important. Correct. Shen Zuo thought for a moment, do you want to sign a contract with our Miyamushin? On the one hand, Hefeng easily learned the magic of Miyamu Mountain, which opened Shen Zuo's vision. Such a kid naturally has the strength to sign a psychic contract with them. On the other hand, he had a chance to avoid Susanoo's slash just now. However, he rushed forward without hesitation. Protected countless toads. This behavior moved Shen Zuo very much. What's more, the incidents of Uchiha Madara and Shirazu cannot be explained. Maybe Hefeng will need Idenzima's power in the future. After thinking about it and thinking deeply, it is better to sign a contract. Of course there is no problem. Hefeng smiled and agreed. Chapter 219 conclude a psychic contract, one more. Advertisement. The reason why Hefeng came to Miaomu Mountain, in addition to wanting to learn the immortality here, was because of the psychic contract. Toad Wentai, Toad Guang, Toad Jian, although they are still in their infancy, but they will be one of the best psychic beasts in the future. Secondly, there are Shensaku and Shima. Every ninjutsu is bound to have its shortcomings. The fairy model is no exception. Although you can gain extremely strong power and perception ability when you turn on the fairy mode, you must stay still if you want to enter the fairy mode. During the battle, once the Shanshu chakra is exhausted and the enemy has not been wiped out, it will be at a disadvantage. Although Naruto wanted a shadow clone to solve this problem. But it is far inferior to the integration of deep work. Zima is easy to use. Not only can fundamentally extend the duration of the fairy mode, it can also improve combat power. Shenzuo and Shima are not pendants that only absorb natural energy, they are also masters who can use ninjutsu. And from the outside, Shenzuo and Jima are just standing on their shoulders. It has no effect on his handsome image. The only flaw is probably that the number of fusions is too small, and it cannot be maintained for too long at present. All in all, signing a psychic contract with Miaomu Mountain is only profitable and harmless. There will be no restrictions on this kind of psychic contract. Even if I conclude a contract with Miaomu Mountain, I can establish relationships with other psychic beasts. It's not a one-dominant one-beast system at all. However, just as he was making preparations for the toad to fetch the psychic scroll, Rizhin couldn't help but speak. Hefeng, your eyes. Hefeng saw Sun Zanzheng's stunned expression and mentioned his eyes. Danzo, Xiaochun, and Yan also noticed the eyes of the wind at this time. Those are not ordinary people's pupils at all. The dark red pupils are engraved with 3 black guyu. It's clear. It's writing round eyes. Wasn't Hefeng the grandson of Master Zujian? Why does he have a writing wheel? What the hell is going on here? Rizan and others couldn't help but have huge doubts for a while. In the battle just now, they only took care of Kei's and Uchiha Madara's ninjutsu. So he didn't notice Hefeng's eyes. Now that the sense of oppression disappeared, they suddenly realized. Good guys. Hefeng unexpectedly has the limit of blood that is unique to the Uchiha clan. Advertisement. Well, this does not mean that. Kei's also has the Senju clan, the Uzumaki clan, and the Uchiha clan. The bloodlines of the 3 major families in the ninja world. This is too bad, right? However, in fact, Hefeng did not forget to close the writing wheel because of his own mistakes. They were discovered by the sun. It was that he deliberately did not close the writing wheel eye. Hefeng was even a little speechless in his heart. I have used these Shilunians to compete with Uchiha Madara for a long time. Did you find out after co-authoring? But I want to come, the enemy just now, but the famous Uchiha Madara. Ordinary ninjas like Sun Slash and the others will definitely feel a strong sense of oppression and despair. There will be energy to observe what color my eyes are. Hefeng thought to himself in his heart, and calmly accepted the reaction of Rizhin and others. Of course, Hefeng did this to let them know. I have the fact that I write the wheel. After all, there is no reason for me to hide things like Lunyan. According to his original plan, he intended to find a suitable opportunity to announce this fact. And now, isn't it the best opportunity? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, since you have seen it, then I don't intend to hide it from you. Have you heard about the Uchiha clan? Hefeng asked vaguely. After all, this matter was treated coldly and it was not spread in the village. Only some Anbu ninjas understand this. But, Rizhin and Danzo are the future successors of Sarutobi clan and Shimura clan. Their identities are somewhat special. Therefore, judging by the wind, they are very likely to know some clues. Of course, Hefeng did not clarify this matter. Without waiting for Hizen and others to speak, he continued, it can also be said that it was accidental. I got the eyes of Uchiha. Then I transplanted it. I didn't expect it to work well. Hefeng smiled, as if this matter was not worth mentioning. He didn't bother to talk about the extra details. Sometimes, the more you talk, the more detailed you talk. The flaws are more likely to appear. Once there is a flaw, it will make the whole lie untenable. Of course, Hefeng is not worried that his lie will be exposed one day. Advertisement. Wait until I become Hokage. Even if others know that they have lied, they can't do anything to themselves. And from Hefeng's point of view, it's about what he said. I am afraid that others will never have the opportunity to verify. Because no matter how others are, it is impossible to gather the same conditions as yourself. I have interpillar cells, do you have one? I have a cure for Muji, do you have it? I have a chakra from the Whirlpool clan, do you have one? And I want to find one who has the pillars, the Muji heel, and the chakra of the Maelstrom clan at the same time. I'm afraid there are not only 6 immortals. Transplant. Rizan blinked, half believing Hefeng's words. But he didn't have any means to verify that what Hefeng said was true or not. It was the Uchiha clan's rebellion, and Rizan understood a little bit. In any case, this matter is no trivial matter. The Uchiha clan lost more than a dozen clan members overnight, and they were all clan masters. There will always be some clues. Rizan speculated that this was what Hefeng was alluding to. Yan didn't think much about this, he easily believed what Hefeng said. After all, with his mind and talent, no matter what he did, Yan didn't think it was a fantasy. Xiaochun was amazed that the gentle wind that opened the eyes of the riding wheel turned out to be somewhat evil and handsome. Can't help but look forward to the way he grows up. Only Danzo was stunned to watch for a while. For a long time, he has had illusions about whether he can get the riding wheel through transplantation or intercolumn cells, but this kind of thinking has always stayed in the fantasy stage. On the one hand, he didn't know how to get the riding wheel eye and intercolumn cells. On the other hand, Danzo does not know how to transplant. As a result, now he sees the gentle breeze, and has a riding wheel eye. For a time, my heart was ecstatic. In his opinion, having a gentle breeze is tantamount to having learned lessons from the past. Sooner or later, one day in the future, oneself can also have a pair of riding round eyes. Riding round eyes. Tuan Zhang clenched his fist subconsciously, looking forward to such a future. After talking about the acquisition of the riding wheel, the gentle breeze did not ink, and he accepted the direct invitation of Shen Zuo. Signed a psychic contract with the toads of Miaomu Mountain. As the scroll toad appeared, he opened the scroll and Hefeng wrote his name neatly on it. Chapter 220 Next time, 2 more. Advertisement. The method of concluding a contract with Miaomu Mountain is simple, just write the name on the contract scroll and leave a handprint. As for Baiju's body, after thinking about it in harmony, I feel that it is not good to take it all the way back. It is very likely to delay the itinerary, and it may leave a clue to Uchiha Madara. Because Hefeng couldn't be sure whether Uchiha Madara had moved the hands or feet of this Shirazu corpse. If I meet Uchiha Madara again, I'm afraid it's not so lucky. My current strength is still too weak. Hefeng couldn't help but sighed, and decided to temporarily hand over Baiju's body to Shenzuo for safekeeping. Then wrote the technique on the scroll. It is still a kind of time and space ninjutsu. When Naruto Uzumaki fought with Pain, the principle of psychic his shadow clone from Toad Oil Falls was the same. It's just that the original shadow clone has become Baiju's corpse. In this way, when he returns to Konoha village, he can use the psychic method to bring the body of Baiju back. In addition, Hefeng also deliberately made 2 scrolls to channel his shadow clone. In any case, he only merged with Shen Zuo and Jima once. Still need to run in. With the current situation, the fusion can last up to 5 minutes. When necessary, he will still need the Shanshu chakra on the shadow clone. After Shen Zuo concluded a psychic contract with Hefeng, he didn't stay anymore. Although it wanted to let the Hefeng group stay, practice for a while, and taste the craftsmanship of Zima by the way. Looking at the entire Miaomu Mountain, Zima's craftsmanship is among the best. The dishes are delicious and delicious. Next time, definitely next time. Hefeng refused directly without even thinking about it. As long as he thinks of the things that Shima made, he feels like he wants to vomit. In this way, after bidding farewell to Shensaku and Shima, Hefeng and others hurriedly returned to Konohane village. Even the various luggage they brought on the road can be thrown at Miaomu Mountain, just at Miaomu Mountain. On the one hand, it should be a gift left to Shen Zuo. On the other hand, it is to reduce weight. I thought that Uchiha Madara had already focused on him. Hefeng's mood when he returned to the village, of course, could not be the same as when he came. He must now return to Konoha Yin village as quickly as possible to avoid long nights and dreams. In this way, Hefeng took Rizhin and the others, and left Miaomu Mountain together. Looking at the back of Hefeng away. Advertisement. Shen Zuo couldn't help but fell into contemplation. Old lady, what are you talking about? I don't know. Jima thought for a while and shook his head vigorously. Until now, it has not figured out why. Why did Uchiha Madara, who should have died, come back to life? Why did the fallen Uchiha Madara become someone else again? Among them, there are too many mysteries. Perhaps, only by seeing Uchiha Madara, all problems can be solved. But, judging from the current situation, Uchiha Madara is likely to be brewing some kind of conspiracy. And the growth rate of the wind has seriously affected Uchiha Madara. Well, it's very possible. Shen Yila nodded, agreeing with Zima's guess. It seems that the ninja world, which has finally been peacefully settled, is about to be turbulent again. At the same time, hell is in the cracks. Uchiha Madara sweated profusely, he looked down at his hands and breathed air. In the end, is it still falling short? Uchiha Madara never dreamed that the kid from Hefeng would rush to MT Miyauki and learn the magic. No matter how you think about it, this thing is really outrageous. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. How could it be possible to learn something like Shanshu all at once? Rao is the Chinshujujian, and it took a long time to learn the magic in the land of inheritance. If it weren't for the immortal model, my Suzuo Nengu would definitely be able to eradicate the breeze easily and prevent future troubles. Madara Uchiha clenched his fists with both hands. In fact, if the clone at that time could have more chakras. Rao is a fairy model, and he can't save the wind. However, Uchiha Madara is indeed not at its peak. During the time he was hiding in the cracks of hell, he never fought with anyone again. As a result, its own strength has regressed a lot. This time, 30% of the chakra was given, which was almost the limit of his body. The most troublesome thing is, this time, the technique of Zanjuan also had a certain degree of impact on Madara's body. For the next period of time, he couldn't use this ninjutsu. Thinking of this, Uchiha Madara glanced back at the outgoing golem behind him. Had it not opened the eyes of reincarnation, I would have died long ago. Now it was just relying on the power of the golem of the outer Tao, and then forcibly renewing his life. As for power, Madara Uchiha doesn't actually have much. It's a pity. But forget it. Advertisement. Given the illness between the pillars, he shouldn't be able to live long. Even if I don't do it. As long as the pillars die, the peace agreement between the 5 ninja villages is a piece of waste paper. At that time, a war may break out in the ninja world. The First Ninja War. Uchiha Madara analyzed the future situation and inferred the future direction. Only between the pillars has been living in the ideal world. Only the power between the pillars can make the ideal world a reality. As for the little devil Hefeng, although he has a very powerful power, there is still a big gap between the distance between Shinshuju. His strength is not enough to become the second overseer of the peace agreement. Furthermore, considering Hefeng's talent, those who claim to be shadows will definitely try their best to eradicate Hefeng. Everything Hefeng does is nothing but a dying struggle. Madara Uchiha thought of this, his eyes closed, and he simply began to recuperate. This is also the reason for the disagreement between him and Zu. The idea between the pillars is too ideal and too beautiful. Even to the point of unrealistic. The peace in the ninja world was deterred by the powerful force between the pillars. Once the ninja world has no pillars, there will be chaos. The war will never end. Only with his own Moon Eye project can we fundamentally solve this problem. Yes, it is. People who can make this world peaceful in a real sense. Only myself. For this ideal, Uchiha Madara is willing to continue to bear it. At the same time, he must also endure it. All this is for peace. Baiju, continue to observe Hefeng, and then report all his movements to me. Madara Uchiha kept a low voice and continued to explain the task. Yes. Baiju nodded, actually shocked to the extreme in his heart. He never expected it. Rao was Uchiha Madara's technique of turning the elephant, but he failed to kill the wind. This kind of thing is simply incredible. Incredible. Hefeng, he's only 7 years old, right? Chapter 221. Back to Konoha, 3 more. Advertisement. After leaving Miaomu Mountain, Hefeng and his team went straight to Muyeyan village. Except for the necessary rest, all the time was spent on the road. And during this period, Hefeng also prepared for the worst. Always ready to fight again with Uchiha Madara, devised a lot of tactical arrangements. Although I don't expect Hazaki and others to be able to use anything, as long as they are not killed by Uchiha Madara, it is already a victory. However, along the way, Kazu and others never encountered Uchiha Madara or Shirazu's ambush. Time flies. Unknowingly, Hefeng's group returned to Konoha. Seeing the open door of Konoha, Hefeng suddenly felt relieved. In any case, there are pillars in the village. It's Uchiha Madara, who dare not to mess around in Konoha hidden village. The next time, it's better to stay in the village for a while. Hefeng took a deep breath and thought to himself. At the same time, he felt that it would be better to tell Kuma about Uchiha Madara. On the one hand, Phaegian is his second grandfather anyway, his own family. Although his strength may not have his own strength now, his support ability is very strong. It is the best proof when you fight against the soil with Naruto. On the other hand, Kenma was also Konoha's first contact with taboos. As early as Konoha hadn't established, he began to study the forbidden technique of reincarnation from the dirty soil. If it is said that Dashawan is the person who pushed science to the peak, then there is no doubt that this is the ninja who created science. Give Baiju's body to the door, maybe something can be researched. Anyway, I don't know anything about this. Speaking of which, when I was in school, I didn't have much experience in anatomy. So, as soon as Hefeng returned to Konoha, he didn't go anywhere and went straight to the Hokage building. Considering that this incident was not trivial, Rizhin and the others also immediately followed the wind and came to the door of the office. After getting permission from the door, Hefeng pushed the door directly and walked in. Gentle. Looking up and down the breeze in the room, his expression was slightly stunned for a while. According to the agreed time, it will take at least half a year for Hefeng to return to the village. As a result, he returned after only about 3 months. This was unexpected. So, didn't you find Miaomu Mountain? Sitting in the office, I couldn't help but complain. In his opinion, either Hefeng and others failed to find Miaomu Mountain and came back dingy. Either Hefeng arrived at Miaomu Mountain, was rejected, and came back dingy. In addition, I can't think of the reason why Hefeng can return to the village so quickly. Can't say. Hefeng had only 1 day to learn the magic. Then came back. Advertisement. 2 nonsense. Shanju is different from any kind of ninjutsu. Just how to perceive natural energy is enough to stump 90% of people. Speaking of which, I also thought about learning immortality back then. I also asked Big Brother. Result. Jian couldn't help but shook his head. Rao is unable to master the immortal arts, and it is not a strange thing that Hefeng will fail. What's more, he is only 7 years old this year and he is still a child. There is nothing to worry about in this matter. Maybe afterwards, he suddenly regained consciousness. Hefeng, there is no need to worry about things related to Shanshu. Even without immortality, with your current strength. However, before I waited for the comfort and wind to finish. He was interrupted. Shanshu. I learned it a long time ago. The gentle breeze looked inexplicable. Who said he hadn't learned fairy art? Isn't this a rumor? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi next second. Suddenly on the spot, there was a question mark on his face. Between the door. What the hell? Hefeng just said that he learned the magic. Just kidding. How far is Miaomu Mountain from Muyayan village? How long did they go to Hefeng? Among them, it will take some time to find the specific location of Miaomu Mountain, right? It will take some time to learn to perceive natural energy, right? As well as learn Shanshu and master Shanshu. Will it take a lot of time? As a result, Hefeng has returned to himself from leaving Miaomu Mountain to now, standing in front of him. How much time did it take before and after? No matter how shocking his talent is, there must always be a limit. Don't tell me, it took only a day to learn the magic. This is too ridiculous. Advertisement. What is he being a fairy? Is it the grand fireball of the Uchiha clan? Hefeng, it's not a shameful time to not find Miaomu Mountain. As the three legendary places of inheritance, there are very few people who can find them. Because he couldn't accept this, he suddenly wondered if Hefeng was lying. Zefeng. Seeing an expression of unwillingness to believe, Hefeng had no choice but to sit cross-legged on the ground and began to absorb the natural energy around him. The whole person couldn't help but stunned, and then decisively used his own perception ability, carefully observing the changes of Hefeng chakra. Suddenly, his eyes widened, and an unbelievable expression appeared. Observed by the ability to perceive chakra, he surprisingly discovered that the gentle chakra had indeed transformed into a fairy chakra after absorbing natural energy. It's almost the same as the fairy pattern between the pillars. The only difference is probably that the fairy patterns are different. In Hefeng, only his eyes have changed. It's like applying orange eyeshadow. Then, Hefeng straightened up from the ground and opened his eyes. He looked at each other's eyes. As this, frog's eye. He blinked and noticed that Hefeng's eyes became like frogs. Although incredible, there is no doubt. The current breeze has indeed entered the fairy mode. There are Shanshu chakras all over his body. You really learned the magic. Even Feijian himself didn't notice that there was a noticeable tremor in his voice at this moment. This news is really too shocking. I really don't know the eldest brother Zujian, when he heard the news. What kind of reaction will it be? Furthermore, once Hefeng masters Shanshu, it means that his strength will undergo earth-shaking changes. However, I haven't waited for how long to immerse myself in this joy. Hefeng's face suddenly became gloomy. Besides, I have one very important thing to tell you. I hope you don't panic too much. Hefeng took a deep breath and gave a vaccination in the room. This sudden seriousness made Fuji frown. What is it that can be worthy of such seriousness? Could it be related to the Uchiha clan? Uchiha Madara, it is very likely that he is still alive. Hefeng said with a pause. Chapter 222 Shocked News, Madara is still alive, one more. Advertisement. When I heard the name Uchiha Madara, his face suddenly changed. It becomes extremely ugly. He never thought that he would hear the name Uchiha Madara in Kazuka's mouth. And the news that he is still alive. This kind of thing simply makes Feijian feel incredible. The man Uchiha Madara is still alive. Hefeng, why do you say that? He took 2 deep breaths and suppressed the shock in his heart. He really couldn't understand why Hefeng would say this suddenly. Because I met Uchiha Madara in MT. Miyauki. Hefeng spread his hands and said lightly. And this sentence shook the room again, and the emotion that made him finally suppressed exploded again. Even the breeze can be clearly seen. When I threw out the news, my pupils doubled in size, the pores on his face suddenly opened, and sweat beaded on his forehead. What did you say? You met Uchiha Madara in MT. Miyauki. Feijian almost subconsciously exclaimed, seriously wondering if he had heard something wrong. As a contemporary of Madara Uchiha, he knows exactly what the name Uchiha Madara means. That's a man who can get close to his eldest brother, and who can only tell the victory or defeat until the end of the battle. If he was still alive, it would be a huge threat to the entire ninja world. Yes, it is, considering the power of Uchiha Madara. Jian felt that he was completely capable of this. The scariest thing is, now the eldest brother is terminally ill. Fate is coming soon. If Uchiha Madara comes at that time, who can stop him? The degree of completion of the filthy rebirth is not high enough. Even if the eldest brother is resurrected, he may not be able to deal with Uchiha Madara. Although Hefeng has mastered immortality, he is only 7 years old after all. And Jian couldn't help taking a breath, let him deal with a ninja like Senna. He still has confidence. If it is Uchiha Madara, even he is not sure. And many more. Just when a lot of thoughts popped up in his mind, he suddenly realized that the biggest problem in Hefeng was the sentence. If Kazuka really met Uchiha Madara, how did he get back to the village? If Uchiha Madara is really alive, it means that he has started to make arrangements before the Valley of the End. I don't hesitate to use fake death to fool us all. Advertisement. Under this premise, Uchiha Madara appeared in front of K's. There is only one reason I can think of. He wants to eradicate the wind. The brain turned quickly, organizing all the conditions together, and finally came to a conclusion. Then the biggest problem is exposed. Gentle, how did you survive? Thinking of this, I glanced at Rizhin and others, as if to say, you designed it with Hefeng, right? Such jokes are not funny at all. Uchiha Madara really wanted to kill me, but he didn't succeed. Upon seeing the wind, he stretched out his hand towards Hizen, and handed himself the scroll he had prepared in advance. He took the scroll from Sun Slasher, and Hefeng opened it directly and laid it on the ground. By the way, I recounted the experience encountered on Miaomu Mountain in concise sentences. The whole person was dumbfounded. What made him most frightened was that he knew very well about Uchiha Madara's ninjutsu. If it were not for personal experience, how could Hefeng know so much? Is it all true? Is Uchiha Madara really not dead? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Hefeng escaped from Uchiha Madara's hands. Bang! Just when the door was extremely shocked, Hefeng's 5 fingers slapped hard toward the character in the center of the scroll, and through time and space ninjutsu, Baiju's body was psyched up from Miaomu Mountain. Looking down at the time, he was shocked again. Bai Weiguo is exactly as Hefeng said. It has a human appearance, but it doesn't look like a human being. So, all of this is true. You really met Uchiha Madara in MT. Miyauki. And when he released the most crucial move, he became this guy. Feijian watched Rizhen and the others, and confirmed to them. Rizhen, Danzo, Xiaochun, Yan, looked at each other, and then nodded, indicating that it was true. This is their common experience. Thanks to Hefeng's fairy skills, they escaped a catastrophe. All the toads of Miaomu Mountain can be proved. If you still don't believe it in the interim, you can psychic toad. It's not. He shook his head, and his brain was in chaos. In terms of motivation, Hefeng and others do not have the need to lie about this matter. It's just that this news is too shocking. Advertisement. So that it is difficult to accept it in the heart. However, even evidence such as Baiju was placed in front of Feijian. It seems that I can only go there for confirmation. I thought to myself in my heart, any conjecture is not as rough as practice. However, according to Hefeng's description, this is quite similar to my filthy rebirth. But when is it? Also, do you want to tell Big Brother Zuma about this matter? After thinking about it for a while, I decided not to let the column know. He is now terminally ill and needs rest. It's not suitable to hear such blast news again. Soon. Make a gesture between the door. 3 Onbi ninjas whizzed out, knelt on one knee, and saw Baiju's body. For a while, I was surprised. But they still held back forcibly, waiting for the order from the door. Take this corpse down, I need to check it carefully. After a pause, his eyes fell on Hefeng. Hefeng, you come with me. After speaking, he left the office hurriedly, ignoring the gentle reaction. The breeze didn't hesitate, and quickly followed the door. No matter what he wanted to do in the meantime, he didn't harm himself. After all, he is his second grandfather. On the contrary, Rizhen and the others did not hear the order from the door, and had to stay in place for a while. I don't know what to do. The other side. Although Hefeng is only 7 years old now, his physical fitness has greatly improved after receiving the devil training of Medbo. In action, it is not weaker than the room. In a short while, he left the village with the door to the deep mountains and old forests. Hefeng couldn't help feeling curious for a while. Grandpa Feijian, where are we going? Okay. He glanced at Hefeng and thought about it carefully. Hefeng is now a ninja who has experienced life and death. It is true that he should not be treated with the same concept as before. Actually, after the first battle in the Valley of the End, the eldest brother Zuma took the body of Uchiha Madara back to the village. Despite the differences in their ideas, Uchiha Madara is still my elder brother, a ninja your grandpa respects. So we handled his body properly. Yes, it is. There are few people who know the whereabouts of Uchiha Madara's corpse. Chapter 223. My grandson has a riding wheel. 2 more. Advertisement. After the war in the Valley of End that year, the pillars did not leave Uchiha Madara's body on the battlefield, but brought it back to Konoha. Although the concepts between the two have diverged, they have become enemies. But in Zujian's heart, Uchiha Madara has always had a place. And Madara is also the ninja who founded Konoha Hidden Village with him. In any case, Zuma didn't want Uchiha Madara to be thrown into the wilderness. I still hope he can get a decent funeral. Just. Interference between the door and the cold treatment was carried out. Instead of letting the Uchiha clan know about this, Madara's body was secretly hidden. I wanted to study Madara's corpse at a suitable opportunity. Unfortunately, there has been no chance. What I have to say. It is that the pillars have never agreed. The most urgent thing is to quickly confirm whether Uchiha Madara is still alive. I thought to myself in my heart. The best way to confirm is to find Uchiha Madara's body. At the same time he also found it strange. I clearly saw Uchiha Madara's body and confirmed his death again and again. What happened now? He suddenly appeared again. What exactly is going on? I personally inspected Uchiha Madara's corpse. It is impossible to have any problems. Muttered to himself. For a while, my heart was in a state of confusion. After about 20 minutes of work, he finally stopped. Looking around with the wind, I found that there is no difference between this and the normal woods. There are no tombs and no tombstones. It seemed that Madara's corpse was hidden deep enough in the door. I want to think about it. During Sarutobi Hizen's reign, he hit it off with Danzo, studied the interpillar cells, and conducted a lot of human experiments. If you let them know about Madara's body, I will definitely not let this former strong man go. Even if nothing has been studied, at least the fact that Madara has suspended animation can be found. Zephyr speculation. It is very likely that Janjian died prematurely at the end of the First Ninja World War, which prevented him from having the opportunity to tell others about Madara's corpse. Just when he was thinking about these things carefully, he patted his hands. The whole earth began to shake. The ground in front of the door began to bulge at a speed visible to the naked eye, the debris fell, and a stone gate appeared. Then, he spread his 5 fingers in the door, pressed it toward the center of the stone gate, and opened the door. Let's go, gentle breeze. Advertisement. As he spoke, he took out an illuminating tool from the ninja bag and moved it down. Hefeng said nothing, followed up. After reaching the bottom of the stairs, there was another tunnel nearly 20 meters long. It is not difficult to see how cautiously he is hiding the corpse in the room. At the end of the tunnel, another hard stone gate was opened in the same way. Later, I used the lighting tool to light up the torch here. Although the corpse of Madara is hidden deep in the door, the various organs are very delicate. Especially indoor torches. It was clearly designed to be here again. Otherwise, why bother to do this? If he didn't die in the hands of Golden Horn and Silver Horn, he would probably study the spotted corpse. After all, before the First World War, there were still pillars pressed against the door. Let him not disturb Madara's rest. Just as Hefeng was thinking about these things in his heart, he walked to the front of Madara's coffin. Then used the strange power of the Thousand Hands clan to open it. 3 steps of the breeze and 2 steps to get together. Then glanced at the situation inside. Read more at hotmtl novel.zi. Uchiha Madara's corpse was lying inside. On the surface, Madara's body is perfectly preserved, as if it had just died. There is no trace of decay. It's so well preserved. Hefeng couldn't help exclaiming for a while. That's natural, after all. Suddenly replied subconsciously, but the voice stopped abruptly. After thinking about it, there was something. It's better not to let Hefeng know. Madara's corpse is still very interested. What's more, he is the only person in the Uchiha clan who has an eternal kaleidoscope. How could I let him go? So in dealing with the corpse, I used all the methods I could think of. In order to keep his corpse so well preserved. Gentle breeze, step back. He took a deep breath, preparing to take Madara's body out of it. But who knows, Hefeng suddenly said, don't be so troublesome, this Uchiha Madara is fake. Between the door, his eyes widened for an instant, and he looked at Hefeng with an incredible look. It's worth mentioning that, in fact, I still want to let the breeze confront each other. Advertisement. The person he saw in Miaomu Mountain was not him. In any case, Kei's and Uchiha Madara are not from the same era. The opponent is probably from the Uchiha clan who used the name Madara. As a result, Hefeng insisted that this Uchiha Madara is fake. What do you mean? Feijian frowned. You mean, the Uchiha Madara you saw on MT. Myoki is not this person. Can't you see it? Hefeng put his hands on his chest and made a low voice. In fact, the breeze has not been seen. He didn't see it even if he opened the writing wheel. Only as a traverser, he knew the truth that Uchiha Madara was not dead. In the Battle of End Valley, Uchiha Madara really died in the hands of the pillars. This is also the reason why I didn't find any tricks in the first door. Because at that time, the body he saw was indeed Uchiha Madara. Only after leaving the door, Uchiha Madara's technique hidden in his eyes was activated. At the cost of sacrificing an eye, he launched the legendary Izanagi. Rewritten the reality of his own death. And left this shadow avatar as a fake. In order to be able to hide from the sky, Uchiha Madara's shadow clone also made special treatment. Even the writing wheel can't see through it. Not to mention it's just a matter of time. After all, it's between Fujian and Madara. The latter is still better. You said this is a shadow clone. He blinked. Even with his perception ability, he couldn't see through. For a while, I couldn't help but wonder how Hefeng confirmed that this was a shadow clone. Because, Hefeng thought about it for a while, and felt that it was time to let Feijian know the fact that he had the Shalanyan. After all, the foreplay has already been laid. I have this. The moment the voice fell, Hefeng's eyes changed rapidly. With the help of the fire here, his eyes suddenly widened, and there were incredible gazes. Because the eyes of the breeze are nothing else. It is the genius of the Uchiha clan that can open the writing wheel. Moreover, the gentle breeze is still 2-3 gold jade. Cheat, deceive, right. Suddenly, the brain was severely impacted. Chapter 224 Transplant the writing wheel eye. What kind of genius is Hefeng? 3 more. Advertisement. Hefeng not only has a writing wheel, but it is also a 3 gold jade. She rubbed her eyes vigorously, wondering if it was because of the light that she had made a mistake. Otherwise, how do you explain the fact that there is a roundabout in the harmony of the wind? Isn't this the blood inheritance limit unique to the Uchiha clan? The problem is that Hefeng does not have the blood of the Uchiha clan. Brother Zujian, needless to say, the patriarch of the Thousand Hands clan. Mito is the princess of the Uzumaki clan. Ayako is a commoner in Konoha village. From a genetics point of view, no matter what Hefeng, it is impossible to open the eye of writing rounds. What the hell is going on? Rao is a well-informed room, but also bewildered all of a sudden. Why does Hefeng have a writing wheel? Well, Hefeng looked at Jian with a look of surprise, and he didn't feel strange at all. No one can accept this kind of thing on anyone. It's normal. Grandpa Feijian, do you remember the last time the Uchiha clan rebelled? Those who want to get rid of me, all have written rounds. On the one hand, it's out of curiosity, on the other hand, I think the writing wheel is very beautiful. I just transplanted Shaolun Yan to myself. As soon as this remark came out, he stood on the spot in a daze. Why is Hefeng able to say such amazing words in such an understatement? Transplant the writing wheel eye. What a joke. It's me, I don't dare to do such an experiment easily. and many more. Suddenly, there was a flash of inspiration, and he recalled when he was handling the corpse of the Uchiha tribe. He once noticed that one of the corpses of the Uchiha clan had suffered severe facial injuries, even the eyes are gone. At first I thought that this was the damage he caused in the process of fighting with the wind. So I didn't take it too seriously. Result: after a long period of trouble, it was the little devil Hefeng who took away Uchiha's riding wheel eyes. Thinking of this, I couldn't help taking a breath. Be good. Hefengji didn't know what he did. If his body had a rejection reaction, his eyes would be useless. And also, advertisement. This kind of transplantation requires very precise surgery to complete. Do you think that things like eyes are just two small balls? Plug and play. In other words, in the eyes of Feijian, Hefeng has accomplished a remarkable feat. Although it was transplanted to get Shaolun Yan, but 7-year-old San Go Yu Shaolun Yan is such a thing. Even the geniuses of the Uchiha clan can't do it. Thinking of this, Feijian couldn't help but squat down, and carefully looked at the gentle writing round eyes. Don't you feel any discomfort? The tone of the door is full of worry. Physical rejection is his most worried part. Well, it doesn't feel much. It's just a pair of ordinary eyes. No, it should be said that they are a good pair of eyes, which can let me see through other people's ninjutsu easily. Nothing bad. Hefeng glanced at the spotted corpse. I also used the power of these eyes to realize that this is his shadow clone. There was a moment of silence, watching Hefeng close the writing wheel eyes and returning to normal. It took a long time for such an astonishing scene to forcefully suppress the shocking emotions. If you don't understand Hefeng's life experience, you know that he is the grandson of eldest brother Zujian. I'm afraid I would really think of him as a kid from Uchiha's family. And many more. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. His face changed in the door, and he called a good fellow. In this way, it is not equivalent to talking. Does this kid of K's possess the best abilities of Senju, Uzumaki, and Uchiha clan at the same time? The wooden escape of the Thousand Hands clan. The chakra and perception ability of the Maelstrom family. And the writing round eyes of the Uchiha clan. Now it all appears on Hefeng. In terms of blood lineage, Hefeng is simply the most perfect existence in the ninja world. Yes, for a while, I couldn't find a gene that is better than a gentleman. This incident simply impacted his 3 views and subverted his cognition. After a long time, the excitement was barely suppressed. If anything happens to your eyes, please notify me in time. Also, where are your previous eyes? Suddenly recalled. Since Hefeng is a transplanted Shaolunyan, how did he deal with his previous eyes? The previous eye, it is stored in the nutrient solution, do you need it? Hefeng thought about it for a while, and made up a reason casually. In any case, it is somewhat outrageous to just throw away the original eyes. As for what is really needed in the interim, advertisement. It is not difficult to find such a thing as the eyes of a 7-year-old child. Of course, as long as you insist that there is no problem with the current writing wheel. There will be no need for the original eyes. That's good. Fei Jian nodded, and did not entangle his eyes more. As for the successful transplantation of the gentle wind, the writing wheel eye is successful. It is directly attributed to his genes. The chakras of the Maelstrom family have a certain degree of self-healing effect. Hefeng inherited the healing power of his brother Zuma. His body was originally different from ordinary people. However, for those who can complete the transplant on their own and easily adapt to the writing round eyes, looking at the entire ninja world, I am afraid that only Hefeng can do it. As expected, my eldest brother's grandson. I couldn't help but sigh. However, there is also a special reminder of Hefeng about the writing of round eyes. Don't easily show up in front of others. Especially the Uchiha clan. It's better to use this kind of thing if you don't need it. Hefeng nodded his head without thinking, and made it clear. In fact, he doesn't need to say such words at all, he understands the truth. Then, he turned his head and looked at Uchiha Madara in the coffin. Although Hefeng said that this is a shadow clone, he still needs to confirm. The easiest way is to destroy. I saw that I took out my pain, pointed at Uchiha Madara's shadow clone, and pierced it directly. Bang! With a loud noise, Uchiha Madara in front of the door turned directly into a cloud of white mist. The white mist gradually spread to the surroundings, and the coffin became empty. As Hefeng said, this Uchiha Madara's corpse is indeed a fake. At the same time, this also means that the real Uchiha Madara is still alive. It's just that I can't figure it out. That guy Uchiha Madara, in the end. How did you fool yourself and the eldest brother between the pillars? In the beginning, I couldn't find this thing, it was fake. Uchiha Madara, it really is a good method. Feijian's eyes narrowed slightly, and he began to figure out a lot of coping strategies. Because he now completely believes that Madara is still alive. Chapter 225 Check-in again. Jingmun, Day Tiger. One more. Advertisement. In the following days, a series of responses were carried out. First, the news that Uchiha Madara might still be alive was blocked to avoid unnecessary panic. And among the Uchiha clan, there may be ninjas who inherited Uchiha Madara's will. Therefore, it is even more important not to let this news leak out. At the same time, the frontier defenses of Konoha Hidden Village were strengthened, and the seal covering Konoha Village was strengthened. In this way, once someone sneaks into the village secretly, he can effectively spot it the first time. As for finding Uchiha Madara's whereabouts, there is no obsession. With Uchiha Madara's strength and strategy, even if he sent an Onbi ninja, it would be difficult to find out his whereabouts. Even if he found Uchiha Madara's whereabouts, it would be difficult to bring the information back. Even if he brought the information back to Konoha and put it in his own hands, Uchiha Madara couldn't foolishly wait until he went to round up him. On the contrary, it is possible that due to Uchiha Madara, Konoha will lose his dark ninja in vain. Such a thing that is not worth the loss, is like a person who is as good at the city and the scheming. Naturally not paranoid, the matter about Uchiha Madara must be handled carefully. Except for the arrangement of the village, he spent all his time studying on Baiju's corpse. I hope to find important information about Uchiha Madara through Shirazu's body. As for the breeze, he didn't have much interest to do something like Uchiha Madara. What's more, he doesn't even know where Uchiha Madara is. Throughout the story of Naruto, the author has not explained where Uchiha Madara is hiding. It's just a metaphor like hell cracks to describe it. Instead of wasting time looking for Uchiha Madara, it's better to use it for cultivation. Strengthen the body. In any case, the rewards Hefeng gets through the punch card package are only skills. Such as his current fairy model. If you don't use the shadow clone, or deep work, the power of Zima. It can only last for 10 minutes at most. Moreover, Shanfa wooden escape technique and wind escape spiral shuriken will consume his Shanshu chakra to a great extent. With my current strength, Fengdun spiral shuriken can probably use 6 rounds. It must be emphasized that the wind escape spiral shuriken is just the ordinary wind escape chakra that is injected into the wind escape ninjutsu formed by the spiral pill. Only in the fairy mode can it be completed 100% and throw it out. But the wind escape spiral shuriken itself does not belong to fairy ninjutsu. So in terms of chakra consumption, it is relatively small. Shanfa Mu Dun is completely different. If it is Shanfa Wooden Dun Wooden Technique, or Wood Dragon, you can use it twice at most, and it will consume the Shanshu chakra. As for Shensuo and Zima's integration problem, I can only maintain it for 5 minutes now. Advertisement. To die is 15 minutes. It is necessary to fundamentally delay the time of the fairy mode. The cooling time of the check-in system is over. Close black lens bracket. Whether to start clocking in. Close black lens bracket. The days flickered, and it was time to punch the card again. During this time, Hefeng did not leave the territory of the country of fire. In any case, he is now the captain of the elite Hokage guards. There is no need to go to the delegate to receive tasks as before. Although the breeze can do that too. But it's not necessary. Today is a peaceful age, and there are many tasks to fight against ninjas. Most of the tasks are very simple, and they can't help much to improve the strength of Hefeng. As for remuneration, the ninjas of the Onbi department can receive a certain salary by themselves. What's more, Hefeng is only 7 years old this year. Food, clothing, shelter. All were provided by his father, Mu Jian, and he had nothing to spend. Based on this and that relationship, read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. During this period, Hefeng either practiced the immortal mode at home. Either he went to the exercise field and performed the magic training method given to him by Medbo. However, just when Hefeng was ready to exercise as usual, his punch card system once again restored the cooling time. You can punch the card again. I didn't even pay attention. Hefeng muttered to himself. The Hefeng clock-in system is not a daily clock-in. Each time the clock is over, the cooling time will be extended. For example, at the end of the first check-in, the cooling time is only 24 hours, and then 48 hours. Up to now, more than 2 months have passed since the last time I checked in at Miaomu Mountain. Because the cooling time has become too long. The breeze is not like before, always paying attention to the cooling time. That's why it's like this. It wasn't until the sound of the clock-in system sounded that he realized that he could clock in. Let's rest for a while. Hefeng took a deep breath and stopped the 5,000 squat training that was temporarily in progress. In my mind, a confirmation was made. Congratulations to the host for successfully clocking in. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Get the check-in package. Close black lens bracket. Whether to open. Close black lens bracket. Yes, Hefeng is the same as the confirmation. In the next second, various ninjutsu, abilities, and blood succession boundaries flashed in front of the wind. Click. With a dazzling white light, the picture finally freezes. Congratulations to the host for successfully opening the spree. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Reward. 8 doors Dunjia Art LV +1. Close black lens bracket. Zefeng. 8 door Dunjia Art +1. Hefeng was stunned, and quickly opened his character panel. The result was the same as Hefeng expected. In his ability column. The skill of the 8 doors Dunjia Art. It has changed from 8 doors Dunjia Art LV6 to 8 doors Dunjia Art LV7. From the past experience again. This LV7 should refer to the 7th door, Shocking the Door. Day Tiger. Although the gap between Shocking Door and Dead Door is so big that it is very different. It's like 2 ninjutsu. But, the current me, not only has the 8 techniques of evading armor, but also the fairy mode. I don't know how powerful the Day Tiger in the fairy mode will be. Correct. Hefeng suddenly recalled that he just made an agreement with Rizhin and the others today to go to the exercise field and train together. After several months of recuperation by Chu Dao Feng, his body has now recovered the side effects left by the red pepper pills. It just happens to be able to use them to test my current strength. Thinking of this, the gentle breeze couldn't help but the corners of his mouth rose, and I felt excited. But, before Sun Zan and others appeared, a passing green figure suddenly stopped. He turned his head and saw the gentle breeze. Hey, isn't this young Master Hefeng? It's been a long time since I saw you. Hefeng looked subconsciously and found that it was not someone else. It's just Madbo. Chapter 226 Fight against Medbo again. 2 more. Advertisement. Master Hefeng, it's been a long time since I saw you. Medbo stopped running and stretched out his thumb to the wind, his smile revealed his white teeth, and a dazzling cross light burst out. The whole person exudes an indescribable youthful breath. In fact, Hefeng and Madbo have not seen each other for a long time. At least 4 or 5 months. Hefeng recalled the last time he interacted with Medbo. Or he just passed the punch card and won the King Gate not long ago. That battle ended with equal shares with him. Yes, Mr. Medbo, it's been a long time since I saw you. The corner of the wind mouth rose, and a smile appeared. On the words of physical skills, Medbo is better than Rizin and others. Let him act as his opponent, there is simply no more suitable person than this. In terms of physique, Medbo is undoubtedly one of the strongest in Konoha Hidden Village. Hefeng thought to himself, then straightened up from the ground and moved his muscles and bones a little. Medbo looked up and down the wind, and found that his aura was even more like a different person before. From the body of the wind, he felt extremely powerful and confident. Just like this world, there is nothing that can break the peace. Speaking of, although Madbo hasn't been in contact with Hefeng for a long time, he has done what he did. He has heard a little. In particular, the gentle breeze, who was only 7 years old, became the special shinobu of Konoha Yin Village. In terms of identity and status, he is even higher than himself. All of a sudden, it broke the record for the youngest ever in the history of Konoha Hidden Village. In addition, Madboss doesn't think that Hefeng is using any relationship backstage. It became particularly forbearance, but through his talent and his own efforts. In the end it succeeded. Yes it is. In the eyes of Madbo, Hefeng not only has talents that no one else has, but also works harder than others. Thinking of this, Materbo couldn't help being a little curious. After such a long time, his current strength, if compared with the wind. In the end, who is strong and who is weak? The last time I played against each other, I was called to stop by the master of the game, and in the end it was just a tie. And, I just realized that, maybe, you can take the opportunity to teach Hefeng. Medbo thought to himself, and made up his mind. Advertisement. As a result, Medbo opened slowly and sent an invitation to Hefeng. At the same time, Hefeng took a deep breath and asked Medbi. Hefeng, do you want to have a youth contest with me? Ms. Madbo, do you want to fight me? The two spoke almost in unison. Next second, the expressions of Hefeng and Materbo froze at the same time. Unexpectedly, the other party actually thought of going with myself. Then, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, the two burst out of hearty laughter together, and they felt very good. Although Madbo's age is much older than Hefeng, but the true age of Hefeng is not much younger than Madbo. So there is no generation gap. But at this moment, it was agreed with Hefeng to train with Sun Slash and the others. Came here quickly. As that person, Madebo, Xiaochun recognized Madbo's back at a glance. After all, in Konoha Village, there are not many people who dare to wear this kind of clothes to go out. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Originally, Xiaochun thought that Madbo was just an ordinary Zhang Ren. As a result, after witnessing his battle with Hefeng, she felt that her knowledge of physical skills had completely collapsed. Recut, Danzo, Yan, and Wind. It's no better to go there than Xiaochun. They had never seen a physical skill as powerful as Medbo. But then they noticed, whether it's a gentle wind or a Materbo, they are now exuding a strong aura, looking directly at both sides. Atmosphere. Gradually depressed, as if a battle would break out at any time. Could it be that? Rizan suddenly realized, and hurriedly walked between Hefeng and Madbo. Danzo and others quickly followed. Are you here? Hefeng quickly noticed these people's actions, it's just right. Now that Madbo had thought of going with him, Hefeng didn't want to miss this opportunity. Being able to fight against a ninja like Medbo makes him extremely excited. Sun Slash, it's up to you to be the referee this time. Hefeng said without thinking. Please, Sun Slash, Medbo said with a smile. On the contrary, Sun Slash couldn't help but stunned. Are you really going to fight? Advertisement. Yeah, the last time I played against Ms. Madbo, it was just a tie, and the winner has not yet been determined. I happened to ran into it here today. So I want to give it a try. It just so happens that you are also here, so why not let you be the referees of this competition? Hefeng explained. Yes, compete with each other and help each other, this is youth. Madbo also echoed the road. But the sights of Rizin and the others were back and forth between Hefeng and Materbo, and they couldn't say anything for a while. They stepped back subconsciously to make room for the gentle breeze and Medbo. In any case, they don't want to be involved in the battle between Hefeng and Medbi. Then, Madbo stepped back and moved away from the wind. What about the rules? Rizan thought for a while and asked the two of them. Although he was forced to act as a referee, but I don't know anything about the rules. At a critical moment, can you really stop them? For a while, Rizan couldn't help but question himself. Yup, the wind is strong like a monster. Madbo's physical skills are also 10 separate spectra. When they confessed, they rushed to the center of the battlefield to prevent them from hurting each other. Just thinking about this kind of thing, Rizan couldn't help clenching his teeth and took a breath. Ha ha ha, why not let me come? Just when Rizan questioned whether he was qualified enough to be the referee of this competition, another voice sounded in the exercise field. Everyone turned their gazes one after another to look at the Comer. Not someone else. It's just the first generation of Hokage who established the Konoha hidden village. Sensho Zuma. And on his neck, it is the sister of the Zephyr. Tsunade. Yes, the current Tsunade is riding on the pillars. Grandpa Zujian. Hefeng suddenly felt a little surprised. But what I have to say is that the post is indeed better than the day cut, and it is more suitable for the referee of this competition. Especially when danger occurs. He has enough power to separate the two. Master Naruto. Medbo greeted the pillars and expressed his gratitude. Ha ha ha, too polite, I also took Tsunade for a walk, just passing by here. Just be your referee. Chapter 227 Jingmun, evenly divided. One more. Advertisement. With the appearance of this powerful referee, Hefeng disappeared from even the last worries. After a period of recuperation, the current body of the pillars recovered 80%. The usual life is to eat and drink, and bring a baby. It is impossible to see that he is a terminally ill, dying old man. If he shot too hard, the pillars would definitely be able to stop his attack. Ensuring the safety of Metabo. Let's start. Announcing the start of the competition between the columns, he took 2 steps back at the same time. Needless to say, Sun Zan and others, they didn't want to be involved in the battle between Hefeng and Medbo at all. Mr. Medbo, I'm going to go. Hefeng smiled and said, his mood was very relaxed, but his movements were clean and tidy, his arms were directly raised to show the seal of the Shadow Avatar technique. Shadow Clone Technique. Bang. Along with the appearance of white mist, another gentle breeze greeted Medbo's eyes. But, this entity clone is neither bait nor feint. He only glanced at Medby, then stepped back to the side without looking back, sitting cross-legged, eyes closed. This sudden scene left Medby at a loss. I don't know what the Hefeng operation is. Hefeng, on the other hand, turned a blind eye to his physical clone, and guided the chakra in his body to flock to the restriction. With almost one breath, Hefeng opened directly to the 5th door, Duman. It's been more than half a year since I punched the card for the first time and got the 8th door repelling technique. I haven't slackened myself for more than half a year. I've always insisted on Medbo's devil training method. My muscles now can easily adapt to Duman's state. Today's Hefeng, even if it does not rely on the ability of Muji to heal. It is also easy to use Baman Dunjia. His skin turned red due to congestion, blue veins bulged on his muscles, and green energy radiated from all over his body. Oh, good vibe, gentle style. Medbo blinked, and he couldn't believe it for a moment. Today's harmony is completely different from the previous one, and his application of the 8 doors Dunjia art is as simple as that of perfection. If that's the case, then I too. Medbo took a deep breath, exploded with full strength, and opened to the 5th door in one breath, in Duman's state. However, the breeze didn't stop, he just paused a little while in Duman's state. I want to try my current body, the state after opening the door. After all, after returning from Miaomu Mountain, Hefeng had been practicing, but he hadn't had the opportunity to use the 8 doors Dunjia art. Advertisement. After a pause of 2 or 3 breaths, the gentle breeze continued to compress the chakra, breaking through the next level of restriction. The 6th door, Jingmun, open. However, Hefeng did not rush into Jingmun. The last time I fought against Medbo, I said it was evenly divided, but continued to fight. Medbo's winning side is actually even greater. After all, at that time, I was new to cultivation, no matter whether it was physical strength or actual combat experience, I couldn't compare it to Medbo. Even towards the peacock, I couldn't easily use it at that time. In other words, the current Japanese style would like to give it a try. The same are all Jingmun. How big is the gap between me and Medbo? Is it the king gate the first time it comes up? Medbo's eyes narrowed slightly, and his heart became excited. He has been struggling to find a suitable competitor. Now that I see the breeze, I am naturally very happy. It's just that Medbo didn't expect that the gentle breeze was more direct than he thought. I thought he would prepare some foreplay, slowly improve his physical skills, and then decide the outcome. However, this is not bad. The 6th door, Jingmun, open. Medbo took a deep breath, clenched his fists with both hands, took a stance, lowered his head and burst into a drink, and opened the door of the scene. In an instant, even the ground beneath Medby's feet was shattered layer by layer. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. No matter how many times I watch it, the 8 doors of Dunjia art feels terrifying. Rizan couldn't help feeling in his heart. Just relying on physical skills can burst out such a terrifying power. It just made him feel incredible. Danzo and others have the same idea. Of course, perfect ninjutsu does not exist, and the power obtained by the 8 doors Dunjia art is completely obtained in exchange for physical damage. It's a move that hurts the enemy 1000 and hurts 800. Even if you fail to solve the opponent within a certain period of time, there will be a high probability of being killed by the opponent. It is a ninjutsu with obvious advantages and disadvantages. Just as everyone was thinking to himself, Hefeng and Medbo started an action together and rushed towards each other. In terms of speed, the two are equal, and neither of them can beat the other. Bang! The whipped leg of the gentle breeze collided strongly with the fist of Medbo, and a terrifying air current broke out, spreading out in all directions. The air was stirred, and the ground under their feet was shattered, and countless flying rocks rolled around. At the critical moment, he slapped his hands between the pillars and used the wooden barrier to block the stones that rushed towards them. protected the day cut and others. And the hearts of the few of them were even more terrified. I thought I had retreated to the safe zone, but was still affected by the battle between Hefeng and Madbo. These two guys are like monsters. Advertisement. Do not. The breeze is better than Medball, there are more monsters. Rijin couldn't help taking a breath. How old is Matabo this year? Nearly 30 years old. He insisted on that devilish training method for more than 10 years. In terms of muscle strength, Madbo is undoubtedly the top group in the village. He got all this with sweat and hard work. How strong is the gentle breeze? From the time he returned to Konoha, it only took half a year to build his muscles. And he is only 7 years old. His body is still in the growth phase. There is still a long time before my peak. It is entirely by virtue of talent to catch up with the efforts of Medby. Who is the monster anyway? No analysis is required at all, it can be seen at a glance. Judgment shall be made, but Madbo has always been a simple-minded and passionate guy. There was nothing dark in his heart, and he wouldn't be jealous of Hefeng's talent. He fully enjoyed the battle, attacking unreservedly. Bang, 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 fists and feet collide and spare no effort. Dismantle each other and look for each other's flaws. But I have to admit that whether it's Zephyr or Methop, for a time, they couldn't take the other party. Well, I'm almost at the same level as Medby, just in the state of the gate. Hefeng thought to himself that he was very satisfied with the result. After all, weird force, writing round eyes, fairy mode. He hasn't used these moves yet. It was purely relying on physical skills, and he had a tie with Madbo, a physical beast who had practiced for more than 10 years. So, I don't know, can you take this trick from me, Teacher Medbo? Chapter 228 The Seventh Door, Start the door, open. 2 more. Advertisement. The gentle breeze leapt up, his hands kept shaking his fists, rubbing against the air, creating countless fireballs, which looked as dazzling as sunlight. Toward the peacock. Eula, to the peacock. Medbo raised his head to meet the gaze of the wind, and the fire and rain in the sky really looked like a peacock with an open screen. However, this physique is difficult to say, and simple but simple. The difficulty is, the peacock has extremely high requirements for attack speed. Only when the speed reaches a certain level, can it rub the air to produce flames. Otherwise, no matter how much you punch, it is meaningless. And it is simple because its principle is extremely simple. Among them, there is neither ninjutsu nor illusion. Only pure physical skills. As long as the scene door can be opened, the combat power will be fully opened in an instant, and the attack speed will be increased. You can easily create these fireballs. Although Madbo is not good at ninjutsu and illusion, he is also a wizard in physical skills. Not only did he learn the 8 techniques of repelling armor taught to him in the interim. And after only one glance, he felt the peacock clearly. He took a deep breath, then held his breath, facing the fire and rain of gentle wind, without dodge or avoid, clenched his hands into fists, and kept waving. In the same way, Materbo also used the peacock to fight against the gentle breeze. Ah da 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 da. Rumble, accompanied by loud noises and strong collisions between Zephyr and Materbo's fireballs, even if a few of them have fallen through the net, they can easily avoid them by virtue of their flexible movement. This long-range confrontation lasted about half a minute, and the two slowly stopped. Except for a slight disturbance in the breathing rhythm, everyone is safe and sound. And both individuals were shocked by each other's performance at the same time. The physical art of the peacock should be a move invented by Metke. Hefeng thought to himself. Now he has a strong dynamic vision even if he does not open the writing wheel eye. Moreover, Madbo is no different from single-celled organisms, with simple thinking to death. Basically, what expressions will appear when you think of it? Through his surprised expression just now, the gentle breeze can infer that it is the first time that Materbo has witnessed a peacock. Then rely on his own observation and talent in the field of physical skills. Perfectly copied his own peacock. Wrong. Zefeng shook his head. To be precise, Materby copied the peacock that I copied Matke. But no matter how you say it, this incident surprised Hefeng. Advertisement. It's worthy of being a member of the Mat family. Hefeng is really talented. Medbo looked shocked. He fought against Hefeng for 50 rounds, let alone suppressing Hefeng. He could hardly find any flaws in Hefeng's physical skills. His offense and defense are simply incomparably excellent. It makes it difficult for Metper to associate him with the label of 7 years old. If he doesn't look at Hefeng's appearance, he will even think of a ninja standing in front of him. Is a very experienced physique master. Especially the move just now, it is too powerful. The time to master the Jingmun is definitely longer than the gentle breeze, but I never thought of rubbing the air to release the peacock. Even in the eyes of Matab, the peacock created by the Japanese style is powerful, and it is not lost to the fire escape of the Uchiha clan. No, the power is more exaggerated than the fire escape of the Uchiha clan. Madbo took a breath, recalling when he was taking the Zongan selection exam. I have met a ninja from the Uchiha clan. After all, the grade is only a very small part. He once defeated a genius who possessed a 3-hook jade and a 2-hook jade. At that time, I only drove to Duman. It's evenly divided again. Read more at hotmtl novel.zi. The breeze spoke slowly. Whether it's a physical showdown under the king sect, or a big blow at the peacock. Gentleness didn't take advantage of it. It's the same with Madbo. They are all equal. For this result, Hefeng is not surprised at all. But, just when Hefeng was about to open the next door and reveal his true strength. Madbo's momentum suddenly changed. Master Hefeng, during your unremitting efforts, I have never relaxed myself. Just 2 months ago, I touched the higher level of the 8 Doors Dunjia art. It's time to show it. Medby's eyes glowed and his emotions were agitated. After he broke the limit again, he has never told others or used this power. Gentle is the first one. Originally, he still had some worries in his heart, fearing that this power would be too strong. Will hurt the wind by mistake. But now, Materby doesn't think so. Advertisement. Hefeng has completely adapted to Jingmun. He also developed physical skills like Chow Peacock. If he is now, he has enough strength to take over his deeper strength. After speaking, Materby didn't even care about Hefeng's reaction. Once again, grabbing fists with both hands, focusing all attention on chakra. The 7th door, startling the door. Open. As Medbo opened the shocking door, obvious changes occurred in his body. The energy that was originally green slowly turned into blue. Zefeng's eyes condensed slightly, and he recognized at a glance that this was blue steam produced by the evaporation of sweat from Medbo's body. It is the last door before the dead door. Metke once defeated Akatsuki's shark muscle with his shocking power. I thought Jingmun was the limit of Medby. He didn't expect that he actually mastered Jingmun. Hefeng looked dumbfounded for a while, although he can also enter the state of shock. That's because of the assistance of the punch card system. As for Madbo, it was his own sweat and a certain talent to get his current strength. In Hefeng's heart, he actually admires the current Medbo even more. This power really makes people feel pleasing to the eye. Meterbo, is it possible to open the 7th door? Even the pillar of this competition was surprised at this time. It's amazing. Between the pillars, he looked up and down the blue steam on Medbo. It was the first time that he saw the shocking effect. Although this technique was invented by his younger brother, he couldn't even open a few doors. A person who truly takes the 8 Doors Dunjia art to its extreme. From the point of view of the pillars, it is Medby. And the power of Jingmun far exceeds Jingmun. Whether it's aura or anything else, Madbo and just now seem to be different. If Hefeng still chooses to use physique to fight against Medby, then he will lose. Straightforwardly settled between the pillars, the current gentle breeze, there is no way to compete with Madbo in physical skills. Even if he uses strange power, can't make up the gap between the two sides. The current Medby is better than gentle. Stronger. Chapter 229. Don't you dare to hold on to that gentle breeze. One more. Advertisement. Hefeng could feel a pressure just by looking at the current Medbo. After opening the shocking door, Madbo and the previous one were totally different from each other. What a strong sense of oppression. With almost no hesitation, Hefeng decisively opened the writing wheel. In the next second, Madbo disappeared directly from the place and appeared in front of the wind. The speed is so fast that he can't even catch the writing wheel of Hefeng. Not to mention, there are no ordinary people who write round eyes. Rijin, Danzo and others were all stunned, because none of them could see the movements of Medbo clearly. It just felt like he suddenly appeared in front of Hefeng. Master Hefeng, be careful. Before taking the shot, Madbo gave a special reminder to Hefeng, but suddenly noticed that his eyes had changed. Blood-red pupils, and 3 black go jade. No matter how you look at it, this seems to be the limit of blood inheritance that the Uchiha clan has. Right round eyes. But, as a gentleman of the 1,000 hands, how can there be a writing wheel? Medby couldn't think of a reason for a while. Simply. Don't think about it. Madbo's body rotated half a circle in the air, throwing a whip leg to make his attack more powerful. Upon seeing the breeze, he subconsciously raised his arms to parry, but was directly kicked by Medby. A violent force poured in. The forced Hefeng retreated to Bazongyuan. Power does not know how many times stronger than the full open combat power in the King Gate state. Really, amazing power. The breeze can't help thinking in my heart. Because he is not the norm now, but the 8 Door Dunjia, the 6th Door Jingmun. There is only one restriction from the shocking door, but whether it is power or speed. The difference is not a level. If I hadn't opened the writing wheel in time, I am afraid it would be difficult to see the movements of Materby. However, the stronger the Madbo in the shocked state, the more excited Hefeng is. Because of him now, he can also open the 7th door, shocking the door. Moreover, I am not a ninja who is not good at ninjutsu and illusion. Once the shocking door is opened, my strength will only be stronger than that of Medby. The most important thing is that I also inherited Senju Zuma's Muji healing ability. Hachiman Dunjia is simply a ninjutsu tailored for me. Just when Hefeng thought of this, Medbo caught up with him one step at a time. Advertisement. Although Madbo opened the door to shock, he has mastered this mode for only 2 months, and he has never experienced it in actual combat. Not to mention a killer move like Suntora. He is now fighting with pure physical skills. Of course, the power of the current Madbo, a casual punch, is much greater than the weird power of a gentle breeze. Bang! Another punch caught up with the wind, but he blocked it with his crossed arms. Next second, with his powerful mobility, Madbo walked around behind Hefeng, raised one foot above his head, and slashed towards Hefeng fiercely. Oops! The gentle breeze screamed, and he hadn't fully digested the impact of Medbo's punch just now. There is no way to adjust the direction of the body to defend against Medby's kick. At the critical moment, Hefeng had to resort to the technique of Flying Thunder God. Rumble. I saw that Madbo's right leg was like a battle axe, slashing towards the ground, and the majestic force blasted the ground with a deafening noise. The layers of the earth were broken, and flying rocks with a diameter of not less than 1 meter rolled out toward the surroundings. And this scene is not the result of a direct attack on the ground by Medbo. His right leg actually kicked only the air. It was just that this force was too strong, that it lifted the air and beat the ground like this. If it's Madbo's intention, it is directed at the ground. Read more at hotmtl novel.zi, it might be more powerful than that. 2. Too exaggerated. Xiaochun was stunned, redefining physical power. In her opinion, Madbo's physical power is simply even more exaggerated than Sarutobi's Earth escape. It's an amazing power. To a certain extent, Madbo is also a genius. He didn't feel such a terrifying power as he took the wind and rolled his throat. Just sweat and hard work can be exchanged. And he saw it very clearly. Madbo's heel did not touch the ground. It was after the breeze suddenly disappeared that his attack was directly missed. Otherwise, the destructive power of Madbo's kick will only be stronger. Even if I take the red chili pill to gain 100 times the strength, I can't achieve such an effect. Medbo is simply the #1 master of physical skills in the village of Konoha. Even the Hefeng chose to evade. Don't you dare to take it hard. Rizhin blinked. He knew Hefeng quite well. Even Susanoo from Uchiha Madara. The breeze dared to be tough next. Instead, he chose to avoid it when facing Madbo. No, the wind at the time was in fairy mode. Rizan recalled this detail, but still shook the power of Medbi. Advertisement. Actually, Hefeng is not using the instantaneous technique to dodge the attack of Matabo. It's the technique of Flying Thunder God. That is a special kind of space-time ninjutsu. People can be forcibly transferred. In other words, except for things like time and space ninjutsu, I am afraid that no one can escape the attack of Medbo. His speed is too fast. The speed is faster than me, and the strength is stronger than my strange power. Rao, the ninja god of Senjujuma, couldn't help but praise Madbo's performance, whether it is speed or power. All can be said to be impeccable. Fangjan, what kind of ninjutsu did you invent? Between the pillars, he took a breath, and if it wasn't for the gentle breeze, he would use the technique of Thunder God in time. He is about to make a move. If that kick hits someone, it's definitely not a joke. There are only 2 options for the current Japanese style. The pillars couldn't help but say, what choice? The others asked unanimously. Either enter the fairy mode. It has been a while since the wind returned from Miaomu Mountain. Today's Zujian has accepted the immortal model of the Hefeng society and transplanted the story of writing round eyes. So nothing to be surprised. In his opinion, he wanted to fight Jingmun Bo. Only fairy mode can be used. As for the remaining options, probably only conceded. The corners of the mouth between the pillars rose, and a wry smile could not help appearing. In terms of speed, Hefeng is a bit slower than Methop. If it weren't for writing round eyes, he would have been defeated long ago. Power. The current Zephyr is also inferior to Materbo. Between the pillars, I can't think of how Hefeng can win. However, the current Zephyr does not seem to have the idea of entering the fairy mode. He drew a distance from Medball. I didn't expect Jingmun to be so strong. Hefeng couldn't help but sighed and faced Medbi. Then, I come too. Chapter 230 shocked. Who can't? 2 more. Advertisement. It is not difficult for Hefeng to defeat Jingmun by wooden escape technique, illusion, fairy pattern. All have the capital to fight against Madbo. Even Zephyr can also use the technique of Flying Thunder God continuously, flashing to another position every time when Madbo is about to hit him with a shot. Until his physical skills were exhausted, unable to maintain the shocking door. It can be said that the first 7 of Bamindunjia are all physical skills with obvious advantages and disadvantages. Very powerful, but no battery life. But the duration is also short. However, Hefeng does not bother to use this method to win. He wants defeat Matabo head-on, in order to prove that his current physical skills are better than Medbo. Therefore, Hefeng imitated the movements of Medbi, struck a stance with his legs, clenched his fists with both hands, bowed his head slightly, guided the amount of chakra in his body, and surged wildly toward the 7th gate. Medbi was stunned on the spot. He really understands the gentle movements. That posture is exactly the same as when I opened the shocked door. Could it be that young Master Hefeng? Go on, just kidding. Madbo rolled his throat and swallowed nervously, unacceptable. How much time did he spend from Jingmun to Jingmun? How long did it take for the breeze? This kind of thing is simply a fantasy. However, didn't the original Zephyr learn the first 5 sects of Bamindunjia by just looking at it? Yup, Hefeng's talent, from the very beginning, was at the level of a fantasy story. It took until now to discover this. And so, Master Hefeng really mastered the shocking door. He's only 7 years old. But no matter how you look at it, Hefeng doesn't seem to be joking. Whether it was his eyes or expression, he was extremely focused and serious at this time. He is really trying to open the shocking door. The pillars and others on the side were also dumbfounded. They thought that Hefeng would use the fairy mode to fight against Madbo. Unexpectedly, Hefeng would open the shocking door just like Medbi. I have never seen Hefeng use Jingmun. Advertisement. Isn't it after seeing Madbo to use it, I learned it. Just look at it, and it will happen. How can this kind of thing be possible? It's not the first time it happened. Xiaochun complained weakly. An expression that you have forgotten. How many ninjutsu is extremely difficult to practice, Master Hefeng, didn't he learn it at a glance? From the beginning, he was not a normal 7-year-old kid. Why do you still use normal people's thinking to judge harmony? Isn't he a monster recognized by everyone? Since it is a monster, then naturally do something that only monsters can do. Rizhen, Danzo, Yan, and Feng all fell silent at this moment, holding their breaths one after another, and looking at the gentle wind in unison. When he was in Miaomu Mountain, didn't he Feng learn the fairy mode all at once? Now learn to startle the door all at once. Seem. There is nothing incredible. Yes, it is. It seemed that there was really no need to be shocked when he learned how to shock the door in an instant that happened to Hefeng. Because he is such an unreasonable 7-year-old kid. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Just when everyone realized this, the green energy in Hefeng was eroded by another color, which was almost the same color as Medber. They are all turned into blue by evaporated sweat. The 7th door. Start the door. Open. Hefeng gradually straightened his back, raised his head and chest, straightened up Metreb in front of him, then glanced at his right hand, clenched his fist firmly, and then released it. Hefeng could feel a steady stream of power emerging from his body. It feels completely different from the fairy mode. Is this the power of surprise? This is the strongest 8 doors Dunjia art that Hefeng can use without sacrificing his life. Boom. The gentle breeze rushed in front of Medber at high speed, and the burst of air stirred the air, producing a deafening sound. And the path he moved was even more smashed by the lifted air. Okay. So fast. Medba couldn't help but stunned, almost defensively from muscle memory. Yes, it is. The speed of the breeze increased instantly. It's Medber, who couldn't react for a while. Had it not been for him to exercise all the year round, he would develop a strong muscle memory and let his body act on its own. Hefeng's punch is almost over. Not only has the power and speed to surprise the door, but also the assistance of writing round eyes. Madbo clenched his teeth, only feeling severe pain in his arm, and his steps back, completely suppressed by the gentle breeze. Advertisement. Then, the gentle breeze leapt up, and it was another whip leg towards Madbo. Konoha whirlwind. Madbo forced his body to force his moves to block the gentle moves, and then concentrated all his attention to confront the gentle wind. Bang, bang, bang. For a time, Hefeng fought against Madbo, and no one fell behind. Once again reached an evenly divided situation. But Madbo's mood was extremely shocking. Even though he knew from the beginning, Hefeng is like a monster, possessing a talent that ordinary people can't imagine and understand. But, this is too ridiculous. Suddenly learned to surprise the door. Medby was a little bit weeping for a while. Do you know how much time it took me to learn to be surprised? Do you know how much sweat and effort I put in? As a result, this is it. He was caught up in minutes by the wind. No matter how you think about it, this kind of thing is really outrageous. Unknowingly, Hefeng competed with Madbo's physical skills for a few minutes. It is still equal. It's not a way to go on like this. Because it is the first time to enter the startled state, and the body is still developing, the strength is insufficient. Rao Shi Huayan's ability to heal has also brought Hefeng to the limit of his body. Once the startling state is lifted, he will definitely be unable to fight again because of pain. Thinking of this, Hefeng decided to use that trick to end the battle. I saw the wind flicker. With a hard kick with his right foot, the whole person fell straight and withdrew. I remember. Hefeng tried his best to recall the Jayin he had seen, and then reproduced it with the help of the power of Shaolun Yan. Day Tiger. In an instant, all the air around the breeze was highly compressed by him, transforming into a white tiger. It looks like another form of chakra. But in fact, this is just a high-pressure gas bomb. It seems to be ninjutsu. Actually, it's still physical skills. Successful. Even Hefeng didn't expect that. The first time he tried it, he successfully copied Kai's Day Tiger. Chapter 231. I want to zoom in. 3 more. Advertisement. Day Tiger. Hefeng laughed wildly in his heart, but he didn't expect that the first time he tried, he successfully copied Kai's Day Tiger. The high-pressure gas bomb enveloped his body, forming a huge tiger head, staring at Medby fiercely. Even the ground at the foot of the wind began to vibrate and become torn apart. This power is even more so to see Sun Zan and others. Well, what a terrifying power. Madbo was dumbfounded, never even dreaming of it. Hefeng only took a glance at his shocked door and learned this trick. And, on the basis of Jingmun, he developed a physical technique like Sun Tiger. If you were hit head-on by such an attack, it would not be a joke. Madber rolled his throat, and now there was only one thought left in his brain. Danger. If he was hit by the wind head-on. That is definitely a big danger. No, you can't confront it head-on. With a low voice, Madbo warned himself in his heart that he must avoid this trick anyway. However, at this moment, his calf had a sharp pain, which made it difficult for him to move forward. And the windy day tiger just let go at this time. Whoops. The huge white tiger roared at Madbo, opened its mouth wide, and bit at him. Medby's eyes widened and he was forced to throw his fists at the oncoming tiger. Boom. I saw Madbo's fist wind pushing the air, hitting a translucent shock wave, and going straight to the mouth of the tiger, trying to disperse the huge guy. However, Haruto just smashed Madbo's frontal punch with just a hard bite, and continued to rush towards him. The distance between the two is getting shorter and shorter. Medby's mind was blank. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he could hardly believe that such a terrifying power could have been made by Hefeng, a 7-year-old kid, with a punch. It is terrible. For a while, Materbo could only block with his hands crossed. He put on a big X-shaped defense and closed his eyes. Oops. At the critical moment, he could see from the pillars that the current Meterbo could not handle the breezy day tiger at all. Although Madbo was also in a state of shock, he didn't have the violent killer moves like Hefeng. Moreover, the Japanese chakra gas bomb is too exaggerated. Advertisement. Ordinary ninjutsu can't stand it at all. Mu Dun Wood Dragon Technique. As the referee, he made a decisive shot between the posts, and saw him raise his arms, pat his hands, and release his wooden escape. I saw that the ground in front of Metbi began to split, and the vines with the thickness of the arm drilled out of the crack one after another, and then rose from the ground, gathered together, entangled each other, merged and absorbed. 2 or 3 could not breathe, and a sturdy wooden dragon appeared in front of Madbo and shielded him behind him. Then, the wooden dragon uttered waves of dragons. The momentum was like thunder, not at all lost to the chakra gas bombs wielded by the gentle wind, but also twisted his body, opened his huge mouth, and met the opponent. One dragon and one tiger does not seem to be ninjutsu, physique is more like a lifelike life, hostile to the opponent, and then collide together. Taking advantage of this gap, Zuma temporarily handed Tsunade over to Hisaki, and then an instantaneous spell appeared next to Madbo and grabbed his arm. The original Hokage-sama, Madbo was stunned, and when his nerve reacted, his body had been taken by the pillar to another open space. Immediately afterwards, he seemed to have suddenly realized something, and quickly turned his head to look at his original position. The body of the day tiger released by the gentle wind began to shrink slowly, and its momentum seemed to lost to the wooden dragon between the pillars. Whoops. In the next second, Mulong opened his huge mouth and swallowed the day tiger in one swallow. But, not only was it not crushed by the wood dragon's bite force, but as if it was deliberately swallowed by it, it continued to move forward. Rumble. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The day tiger rammed Wonglong in the wood dragon's body, destroying it wantonly. Between the pillars, Madbo, Rizhen, Danzo, Xiaochun, Yan, and the wind. They held their breath at this moment, and even their eyes couldn't bear to blink. I thought that the wooden dragon would directly crush this tiger, but never thought that the day tiger would break through the wooden dragon abruptly. I continued to move forward for a certain distance, flattening more than a dozen towering trees, and then calmed down. His original location was not only punched through a bare surface. Even the wooden dragon collapsed and turned into ruins. Everyone's eyes widened, and his chin seemed to fall to the ground at any time in surprise. Even the gentle breeze is all of a sudden dumbfounded. Is your own day tiger so powerful? Even the wooden dragon between the pillars was destroyed. It's too exaggerated, but, if you think about it, it doesn't seem to be a problem. Metke made only a few shots, killing the ghost shark's big shark bullet technique with one punch. A punch flew Uchiha Madara's semi-complete body Susanoo. Even, he also beat Ludaoban back 8 feet away. Advertisement. My current physical strength is indeed not as strong as that of Metke at that time. But in terms of chakra, he is better than Metke. Now punch with such power. It's nothing strange. Just, after this punch, Hefeng was completely unable to maintain the startled state and was forced to lift it. Immediately afterwards, there were bursts of pain that swept through his body. It seems that if you move it, you will break the bones. Even with the ability of Muji to heal, it can't resolve the pain of Hefeng. Okay, it hurts. Zefeng couldn't help taking a breath, and slowly sat on the ground. It seems that his physical strength is still not enough. If there is no need in the future, it is better not to use Jingmun. But there is no other way. Anyway, my current body is only 7 years old. It's still developing. No matter how hard you exercise, there is an upper limit. Hefeng couldn't help but recalled what Kazuto had said. As long as it is human, there will be limits. It seems that I won't be able to adapt to these 8 Dunjia at least until I am 16. Hefeng thought to himself. And worrying about his column, also hurried over. Others followed closely behind, including Matabo. Only, Madbo does not get there better than Gentle Breeze. Although his physical fitness is better than the Gentle Wind, but it is also the first time that he has used Jingmun to conduct actual combat. As soon as this state was lifted, he felt an unprecedented sense of exhaustion. As well as the indescribable pain, he fell to the ground with a plop, and his eyes were not much different from losing consciousness. Rizan and others looked confused. Unexpectedly, Jingmun would have such side effects. After all, the 8-door repelling technique is to gain powerful power at the expense of the body. He glanced at Metbi between the pillars and explained. I can't help but wonder. Is not it, should Baman Dunjia be directly listed as a forbidden technique? Chapter 232. That's not ninjutsu, but physique. One more. Advertisement. Hefeng looked up at the ruins in front of him. That is exactly the wood dragon technique that he used to destroy the day tiger. Although the cost of this trick is great, it has to be said that the power is really strong. Except for a strong player like Zujian and Madara, it is difficult for Hefeng to imagine who else can take this punch. Especially with the technique of Flying Thunder God, it can have a surprising effect. Hefeng thought to himself. The only regret is that his current body is still too weak. No matter how you exercise, there are still limits. It is difficult to play the true power of surprise. But this is also no way. Who will let his body be still in the developmental period? Thinking of this, Hefeng is very satisfied with his performance this time. Rizan and the others looked at the wooden dragon that was destroyed by the fist of the gentle wind, and once again stormed waves in their hearts. In order to stop the Japanese wind, the wooden ninjutsu released by Master Zuma is as exaggerated as tens of meters, not much smaller than Uchiha Madara's semi-complete body. This is also a horrible punch that a gentle breeze throws under normal conditions. What if Hefeng enters the fairy mode? If so, how can his body grow up? Everyone knows that he is only 7 years old now, and his body is still developing. It will be at least 10 years before his heyday. At that time, if Hefeng uses the Day Tiger again, the power will be even more terrifying and exaggerated. No matter how many times I watch it, young Master Hefeng's talent is so shocking to the world. Is there really anything in this world that he can't do? Yan looked gloomy and didn't know what language to use to describe himself. The mood now. He was refreshing his knowledge of ninjas and ninjutsu again and again. To be honest, even if I were to take the red pepper pill again, I would not be sure to take over the ninjutsu that Master Hefeng just now. Take the wind without concealing his mood. Even the Mu-dun of Master Zujian could not completely block the Japanese ninjutsu. How could the human body be safe and sound? I am afraid that he will be met by the wind and kill him on the spot. Even because they marveled at the power of the wind, they all mistakenly thought that Haruto is ninjutsu. Not physical skills. What a terrifying chakra gas bomb. Rizan said weakly. In his opinion, in the ninjutsu he currently masters, there is almost no one that can directly confront Hefeng. Matbo was lying on the ground, all bones in his body seemed to be broken, and if he moved a little, he would feel painful. This is the price of using Jingmun. Advertisement. Even Matke, who cultivated the 8 doors of Dunjia art to Mahayana in the future, could not erase this price. Just, when you enter the shocked state for the second time, you can forcibly erase the severe pain in your body. This is the gap between me and Master Hefeng. Although Matbo's body hurts so much that he rolls his eyes, he still doesn't faint. He is a ninja who is not good at ninjutsu or illusion. The only place to be proud is physique. But after seeing Hefeng's startling door, his mood was somewhat depressed. Because he also regarded Haruto as ninjutsu. At the same time, he realized that even Bam and Dunjia can and can't ninjutsu. There is also a gap. As a user of the Day Tiger, Hefeng couldn't help being stunned after seeing everyone's reaction. Then he chuckled. Ha ha ha, no wonder you will regard the move just now as ninjutsu. After laughing twice, Hefeng couldn't laugh anymore. He gritted his teeth and gasped. Even if Mayan is cured, it is still impossible to erase the pain in his body in a short time. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Speaking of which, even a ninja like the Ghost Shark mistakenly believes that Haruto is ninjutsu. No wonder these people have not figured out the situation. After all, it was the first time I saw it, and it was very powerful, and it was normal to have no time to see clearly. The move just now is not actually ninjutsu. Breathe slowly and deeply with the breeze, keeping your body still to avoid pain again, and then explain. When he said that Haruto is not ninjutsu, including the pillar room, everyone was startled. What's going on? With such a fierce attack just now, it turned out to be not ninjutsu. Really fake, deceptive, right? No matter how you look at it, such swift moves are like gas bombs formed by chakra. How could it be ninjutsu? For a time, everyone had the same question. Yes, from the outside, it does look like a gas bomb formed by chakra, but Haruto is really not ninjutsu. It's a physical technique that highly compresses air. Advertisement. Simply speaking, it's just a punch that I threw in a shocking situation. Hefeng explained. In any case, he was a master of physique swaying Shirahu. Even if I don't know the Day Tiger as Metke, through my own experience and real experience. He still gave a rough idea. Of course, even if Rizan and others clearly understand the principles of Raihu. It didn't work either. But this is a move that can only be used when the door is alarmed. Apart from me in the entire Konoha village, I am afraid that only Mr. Medbo can learn it. Hefeng thought about it for a while, and said. For one thing, the Day Tiger is not a move created by himself. It is the extra power gained by punching in and drawing to the 8-gate Dunjia shocking gate. To be honest, Hefeng didn't expect that he could succeed all at once. Secondly, Madbo is Konoha's ninja, and with a simple mind, it is basically impossible for the village to have any rebellious intentions. Even saying that he is a single-celled organism, Hefeng doesn't think it is appropriate. Thirdly, when he was receiving the guidance of Medbo, he had no reservations about himself. Basically, as long as he knew everything, he taught him everything. Such a person, if he has learned the Day Tiger, he won't think there is any problem with the wind. Of course, Hefeng only talked about the general theory in front of Medbi. As for the demonstration, he had no plans. It's not because of anything else. It's his body, which is still developing. The cost of using a Day Tiger is too great. Before he became an adult, Hefeng didn't plan to fight with people by using shocking doors if it was not necessary. It's terrible, this power. Hefeng couldn't help but complain. Even if he was cured by Muji, it took him nearly 15 minutes to completely recover his body. As for Madbo, it took half an hour to lie down before he was able to sit up. As for Rizan and others, after looking at the price paid by Hefeng and Madbo, completely dispelled the idea of learning Johu. It's not a ninjutsu that ordinary people can master. Chapter 233 Because of me, Baman Dunjia has become a forbidden technique. 2 more. Advertisement. It is obviously impossible to say that he is not interested in the skill of Day Tiger at all. But when he thought of the prerequisites of Sun Tiger, Sun Zan and others could only dispel this idea. Even if they could force their bodies to open the 8-door Dunjia forcibly, the huge price they could not bear. As the pillar of Naruto, it was after witnessing the power of the 8 doors Dunjia art. Found the door. Huh, brother, why are you here? He blinked at the pillars of the office when he pushed the door directly into the office. I'm here to talk to you about the 8 doors of Dunjia art. I think it is necessary to directly list this ninjutsu as a forbidden technique. It's too dangerous. Suddenly, the eldest brother Zuma suddenly ran to his office, just to put Baman Dunjia as a forbidden technique. Not to mention the extremely demanding conditions for cultivation of this technique. It also requires a lot of sweat and effort. Except for Madbo, who is not good at ninjutsu and illusion, he can hardly think of anyone else who would put his energy on the cultivation of the 8 techniques of Dunjia. Correct. There is also a gentle breeze. But he is different, he is a genius. It is even more capable of healing by Muji. Now there are only 2 people in the village who know how to use the 8 doors of Dunjia. Medbo followed the breeze. The eldest brother suddenly said such a sentence. Who is it for? So, what's the matter? Zhangjian asked quite curiously. Had it not been for the situation, the eldest brother Zhujian would never say such a sentence for no reason. Therefore, Zhujian had no choice but to describe the match between Hefeng and Madbo in detail. I thought it was just an ordinary contest. Good guys. Good guys directly between the columns. The power of the day tiger in the breeze directly overturned his own wooden dragon technique. Furthermore, Haruto is not ninjutsu, but physique. Not only physical skills, but ordinary physical skills without strange power. Do you know what this means? Jian Zhujian gestured with surprise on his face. It is no exaggeration to say that Zhujian felt that the power of the fist of the wind is comparable to the tail beast. How could his power be so outrageous? There was a black line in the door. Really, it's a gentle breeze again. Advertisement. Fei Jian thought he would be shocked, or surprised. As a result, he felt a little numb in his mood. Yes, after hearing such news, I only felt a little numb in my mood. As if it had to do with the wind. Things that seem outrageous are normal. Does this show that Hefeng is a terrifying physical genius? Fu Jian and Zhu Jian had their eyes facing each other, and they responded with a black line on their faces. If not, what else can it explain? The 8 doors Dunjia art is indeed a physical art developed by myself. But, with this ninjutsu so far, he can only open 3 doors, and his improvement is very limited. Basically, there is no need to use it in actual combat. Moreover, it takes not only enough sweat and effort to open the door at the back, but also a considerable amount of time. After some measurement, Fei Jian had to give up. If it hadn't been for Madbo's obsession with ninjas, he would have caught his eye. The 8 doors Dunjia art was probably hidden by him. But even a physique madman like Medby. Read more at hotmtl novel.zi only mastered 6. Who could have imagined that Hefeng only glanced at Medby's demonstration, and then relied on his own comprehension to drive to Duman in succession? Not only that, but it didn't take long before he opened the King's Gate. By now, Hefeng has mastered the shocking door even more. He also developed such a physical technique as Sun Tiger. This is not a terrifying physical genius, what is it? Between the pillars, he was speechless for a while. Although he didn't want to express this, what he said in the interim is actually true. Hefeng is indeed an individual skill genius. He opened the door casually and didn't say anything. He also developed physical skills such as Shiraku. Even the physique madman Materbo respected the Japanese style very much. Do you know what is the scariest thing? Brother. He hugged his chest with both hands, and without waiting for a reply between the columns, he explained to himself, there are a total of 8 methods of evasion. Hefeng has now mastered all 7 except the last one and the dead door. His strength can be said to be astonishing. But, according to my understanding of this technique, the gap between the shocking door and the dead door can be said to be a gap. Once Hefeng opens the last door, he will gain more power than you. There was a sound in the air. Advertisement. If you don't care about the consequences, Hefeng is undoubtedly the strongest person in Konoha Hidden Village now. Of course, if you consider the consequences are so great that no one can bear it. Including Hefeng himself. That's why I said that the 8-door repelling technique should be listed as a forbidden technique. Zhu Jian took a deep breath, understood what he wanted to express, and at the same time emphasized this point again. He hopes that, in the future, in addition to Matabo and Hefeng, it is better not to pass on the 8 doors Dunjia art, although Hefeng and Materbo gain tremendous power after opening the shocking door. But the cost is also huge. Furthermore, Hefeng inherited my Muji cure, and the damage of the body can be repaired by itself. Materbo has been building muscles like a day for 10 years. Except for them, there probably won't be anyone in the village who can bear the cost of the 8-door retreat technique. Fei Jian looked at Zhu Jian and nodded, but he felt that there was some truth in what Zhu Jian said. It's better to take this opportunity and list this technique as a forbidden technique. But, the column tells about the competition between Hefeng and Madbo. It does provide an idea for the door. Uchiha Madara is still alive and has shot against K's once. The village is calm now because the pillars are still alive. But once the eldest brother is gone, there is no guarantee that Hefeng will be safe. What if Uchiha Madara hits him again? Rather than praying that Uchiha Madara can let go of the Japanese breeze kindly, it would be better to help him improve his strength. When he meets Uchiha Madara again, he may be able to defeat the opponent. And when it comes to improving strength, what else is more direct than actual combat? Of course, ninjas such as Madbo, Sun Slash, and Take the Wind are fine. With their current strength, even if they are fighting against Hefeng, they are not his opponents. Even if it is conservatively estimated, Hefeng's current strength. It is also the elite. Well, it's my second grandfather to be the opponent of the Japanese style personally. Feijian's gaze narrowed slightly. In his opinion, he could now be a ninja against the gentle wind. Apart from the eldest brother Zujian in the entire Konoha village, there is only oneself. Thinking of this, Feijian's heart suddenly made up an idea. Fangjan, are you okay? How do you feel the insidious look in your eyes? The pillars couldn't help but vomit. Chapter 234 The decision made in the interim, the elite will be forbearance. 3 more. Advertisement. After much deliberation, a bold decision was made. A few days later, an Onbi ninja came to the training ground to find the wind. During this period of time, Hefeng has not slackened himself, and has been practicing desperately. In any case, there is a Uchiha Madara staring at him in the dark. Now the cycle of the punch card system has become very long. Hefeng had to spend all his time to become stronger. He didn't want him to be attacked by Uchiha Madara in one fell swoop when he was 8 years old, and died tragically during a certain mission. At the same time, Hefeng prays every night. Pray for a few more years to live between the columns. It would be even better if I could live for a few decades longer. Hefeng knew in his heart that this kind of thing was just his wishful thinking. In the original work, the pillars are terminally ill. After the Battle of the Valley of the End, a few years later, they will be left behind. Triggered the First Ninja World War. With a sense of crisis, Hefeng is naturally not like it was when he just crossed over. Salted fish every day. With the current breeze, I wish I could have 48 hours a day. Come to make yourself stronger. As always, defeated Rijin and others. Zefeng wiped off his sweat with a towel. He felt that his self-discipline and fulfilling life was simply wonderful. Master Hefeng. Waiting until the wind stopped, the Onbi ninja hurriedly walked to the side and greeted him friendly. Now that the wind is the grandson of the pillars, everyone in Konoha is already well known. Not only that, but everyone knows that Japanese style is not an ordinary 7-year-old child. It's a genius boy with an incomparably powerful talent. What's the matter? Kazuka turned around and looked at the Onbi ninja, and asked casually. According to his understanding, the Onbi ninja didn't find himself for no reason. Mostly it has something to do with the second grandfather. Only when Hefeng asked why, the Onbi ninja did not explain why. Because even he himself didn't know very well, Master Feijian asked himself to come over and find the real reason for the harmony. I just emphasized it specifically and asked Hefeng to come by himself. And, the location is exactly the place where Hefeng was appointed as the special place for Shinobu. Oh, is there such a thing? Advertisement. Zefeng's eyes glowed suddenly, thinking of some possibilities. Such as, I must formally appoint myself as Sharingan. In any case, the special Sharingan is not the real Sharingan. His identity and status are between Zongren and Sharingan. When he was appointed last time, Hefeng had already possessed the strength of Shinobu. However, it is a pity that I did not contribute enough to Konoha Hidden Village at that time. That's why there is such a hand in the door. Let yourself enter the team of special Shinobu first, and then perform the task. By now, several months have passed. It was also time to officially appoint himself as Sharingan. Although such a thing as Sharingan is just a false name, it is better than nothing. What's more, this is a process specially arranged by Grandpa Second for him. Is there any reason for him not to go? After thinking about it for a while, Hefeng waved his hand at Rijin and the others to let them continue to practice. Yes, Captain. Rijin and the others unanimously responded to the 7-year-old captain. What they admire now is the 5-body cast. Whether it is the strength of the wind or the mind. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, both are strong and have nothing to say. In this way, Kaze followed the Onbi ninja and set off towards his destination. It takes about 10 minutes. The breeze came to the destination. At the sign of Onbi ninja, he opened the door and walked in. The result is just as he expected. Representatives of the various families in Konoha Yin village are now sitting on both sides, just like before. When they strode in, their eyes focused on themselves. As if you were a star. Needless to say, naturally. He is sitting in the main seat now, with his hands on his chest, his face is serious. Master Feijian, Master Hefeng is here. Anbu ninja made a low voice, reporting on one knee. Jian nodded slightly, and made a random gesture, ordering the ninja to step back temporarily. Yes, Master Shujian. As the Onbi ninja left the scene, the door here was directly closed. The representatives of the various families in Konoha Yin village didn't say a word, as if waiting to speak between them. It is not difficult to see that everyone respects the door. Soon, Jian got up from his seat and broke the depressive atmosphere first. Since Hefeng has arrived, let me just say it. Advertisement. Although the current Zefeng is only 7 years old, both his thinking and his strength are unquestionably powerful. He will serve as Konoha Kamininyo. No. Feijian shook his head. In his opinion, it was only the appointment of peace as the supreme forbearance. It's still too awkward. With his current strength, he is fully qualified to serve as the elite of Konoha Hidden Village. With Hefeng's current strength, it is perfectly possible to assume the position of elite shinin. There was a sound, and I looked around, sweeping the family representatives in every village. This was also the decision made by the pillars when Shinobu was established. In other words, it is the rules established between the pillars. His ideal shinobu village is not all in one word. Not a dictator. His ideal Konoha is a place where he can put his heart to heart and treat each other frankly. Even people from different families can let go of the barriers between each other. That's why he set up such a system. Regarding the appointment of shinin, family representatives must be elected, instead of being appointed by Hokage alone. Now that the pillars are still alive, it is impossible to shake such a system. Only, the character is stronger than the pillar. In dealing with this kind of matter, you will not be sullen down to the representatives of the various families. His eyes are like sharp swords. Observe the reaction of each family representative. The result is as expected. When he uttered this sentence, he must forcibly promote the gentlemanship to be forbearance by the elites in the village. There was an uproar in the entire venue. Even Hefeng felt surprised. He thought that at most he was appointed as Sharingan. Unexpectedly, he was even more ruthless than himself, so he would endure it directly on the elite. It is worth mentioning that Naruto originally had no shadow level or super shadow level. The shadow is not the level of a ninja. It is very clear in the original work that the so-called shadow is the strongest person above tens of thousands of ninjas. Except for the shadows, the others, no matter how strong they are just elites. For example, Uchiha Madara is nothing more than a better elite. Elite Shinobu. Kaukas couldn't help but sucked in a cold breath, just like in the middle, observing other people's reactions to this incident. Chapter 235. I now give you a chance to challenge and win. One more. Advertisement. As soon as this remark came out, it caused an uproar in an instant. The representatives of Konoha's various families all showed incredible expressions. Master Phagian should not only promote the Japanese style as the supreme forbearance, but also the elite as supreme forbearance. You know, the number of elite ninjas is very rare, and only one elite ninja can be born out of 100 ninjas. Their strength is often not lost to the captain of the dark team. It is an important part of ninja village's combat power. It is not even an exaggeration to say that becoming an elite of Sharingan means entering the ruling class of the village. They are not only the captains of the ninja army, but also the upper ninjas. For example, the relationship between Kakashi and Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. Kakashi often uses, "They are all my subordinates," to describe, rather than my disciples. Will it be too quick to let young Master Hefeng directly take on the role of elite Sharingan? Should it be better to accumulate some experience in the Sharingan team first? How can I say it is a time of peace? Questioning voices inevitably appeared among the family representatives. Although they knew that Hefeng was the grandson of the pillars, it was too ridiculous to be an elite. No matter how you look at it, this thing is very outrageous. But, when some people question it, others agree. In particular, the power of the family is weak, and it must be a startup family based on the village. They have neither the power to enter the political center nor the capital to survive independently. For example, the Hyuga clan. I very much agree with the arrangement of Lord Shuima. The patriarch Hyuga immediately stated his position. He was optimistic about the arrangement of the door. Although in the official plot of Konoha Hidden Village, the Hyuga clan was once known as Konoha's strongest family. But in this era, they can't get along with the strongest relationship. The Thousand Hands clan has 2 generations of Naruto in a row, a god of ninja and a god of ninjutsu. The masters of the Warring States period are all alive today and are very united. The strongest family in Konoha is justified. Its strong strength is self-evident. Although the Uchiha clan had just been purged by a gentle breeze and killed more than a dozen clan masters, it had little effect on the overall situation. And the pupil technique of writing round eyes is no weaker than white eyes. In addition, they don't have something like a bird in a cage, and the overall strength of the family is still stronger than the Hyuga clan. Sarutobi, not to mention the Shimura clan. Advertisement. Today's Hyuga really can't even make the top 5. Don't talk about it now, but in the next few decades, Thousand Hands will return and Uchiha will annihilate the clan. Are they not the same as those who were crushed by Sarutobi with one hand? Hefeng looked at the current patriarch Hyuga, and couldn't help feeling sorry for the fate of this family. But there is no way that. The characteristics of the Hyuga clan are too obvious. Without the protection of the village, what is the difference between them and the moving fat when they walk on the street swaggeringly? They need the village far more than the village needs them. I have also heard from our clan who said that Master Hefeng is very strong. Even if he takes red pepper pills, he still loses to Master Hefeng. Patriarch Chudao followed Patriarch Hyuga, and he had no dissatisfaction with Hefeng's direct promotion to the elite. Master Phagian, are you too impatient? Young Master Hefeng is only 7 years old now. It is not a time of war. It is really necessary to promote his status in such a hurry. After Patriarch Uchiha was silent, he stood firm in his opposition. No matter how to use cold treatment in the interim, as the leader of the family. More than a dozen masters in the clan died at once. They are also the geniuses who started the writing wheel. How could he know nothing? Even if they inherited Madara's will, they shouldn't have killed them all. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. This incident has always made him dissatisfied. Now that he heard that he wanted to promote the Japanese style to be the best forbearance for the elite, he suddenly thought of it. As Chief Uchiha's voice fell, the venue was suddenly silent. Everyone's expression has undergone subtle changes. Think carefully. Indeed, Hefeng is only 7 years old this year. Is it really necessary to be so anxious? It is not a time of war. Nowadays, the 5 big ninja villages have all signed a peace agreement, and only some small villages will occasionally fight. As long as the shadows intervene, there will be no problem. Is it really necessary to be so anxious to let the Japanese style become the elite of forbearance? Observing the expressions of the people, he was not surprised at all about their reactions. In fact, what I want now is this kind of response. What you guys are saying is very good, they are all very good. Seeing everyone's silence in the interim, only then did they speak, clarifying what they meant. Hefeng is indeed 7 years old this year. This is a fact. However, he does have the strength of the elite Sharingan. This is also true. Advertisement. When have we forbear at the elite and set an age threshold? No. From the very beginning, the yardstick for the elites is their contribution to the village and their strength. The contribution to the village is huge, but for some reason, it is impossible to disclose what he has done. There was a slight pause between the door, and he slapped his hands on the table, looking at everyone. Atmosphere. Become depressed. Except for Uchiha's face becoming a bit ugly, the other clan chiefs are all confused. Master Phagian, what are you talking about? Why can't I understand? Hefeng has made a great contribution to the village, but it is not convenient to say. Of course, there is no proof. In order to let you know that Hefeng does have the strength of elite Sharingan. And so, I intend to give Hefeng a chance. Each of you, choose a representative from your family. Challenge the peace. If the peace loses, let this matter go. He paused for a while, and continued, on the contrary, if Hefeng wins the final victory, then he will be promoted to the elite of the village. What do you think? This remark caused an uproar once again. No one thought of it. Shinshojian could make such a bold decision. He even asked each family to send a representative to challenge the peace. As long as the wind loses, this incident will never happen. Even Hefeng himself did not expect that this kind of blood would be laid down in the door. But, Hefeng observes the family representatives sitting here. The Sarutobi clan, the Shimura clan, the Uchiha clan, the Hyuga clan, the Nara clan, the Mountain clan, the Oil Girl clan, and so on. Every family has its secret technique and powerful strength. It is simply a good thing for them to be their opponents. Interesting. I am gentle and accepted. Hefeng agreed without waiting for the patriarchs of various families to respond.